WWE In Your House 13, Final 4. Shawn Michaels has lost his smile. Everybody, where is that smile? Probably around Sonny's clit. That's so vulgar right out the gate. God damn it, Kyle. Whatever. There's wrestling on this show. Final 4. Really fun main event, kind of rough around the edges. I don't think they had figured out Fatal 4-Way matches yet, so that's fun. There's some title matches on this show. There's some really stupid shit on this show as well. But that's early 97 wrestling for you. Lot to get into, so you better sit your caboose right there and take a listen, or a watch, or a taste of the Apron Bump Podcast.
The hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get it started.
What is up, everybody? How are we all doing? Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hope everybody's braced the hurricane Helena, whatever the fuck her name is. Hopefully everybody's okay. I know a lot of Florida listeners of the bump. A lot of Florida bumpers out there, so hope everybody's safe. Hope everybody's enjoying their fall, summer. What season are we in? I don't fucking know. It's Virginia. It's always humid and shitty and gay. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but anyways, we got In Your House 13, Final 4. Talk about today. What a very interesting show this was. Is it a good show? I feel like I've been saying this a lot. I don't think it was a good show. Normally I follow that up with, but I had fun watching it. Now this one though, the main event was fun. Like I said in the cold open, there's a lot going on here. First of all, I should say, Shawn Michaels, who was the WWF champion, relinquished the championship because his smile, I guess, skedaddled. Took a hike. Doesn't know where his smile is. Allegedly has a knee injury. Bit fishy, but we'll get into that in the podcast. So that's a whole thing. But what that means is that the WWF title is vacated, and we will crown a new champion on this show. It was originally going to be a number one contenders match, but now it is for the whole kit and caboodle. So we got Vader versus Undertaker versus Bret Hart versus Stone Cold in the main event. Like I said, it's it's interesting watching people figure out match types. I've talked about it with WCW when they do like their triangle tag team matches. It's like people hadn't really figured out multi-man matches yet. So it's very interesting seeing it play out. And it kind of culminated into a fun match. It was pretty violent, pretty brutal. It's kind of a lost art nowadays. So I like that, but there's so much. There's the tag team titles on the line. You got Bulldog and Owen, who are the champs, who are still kind of bickering back and forth. They're defending against Doug Furnas and Philip LaFon. You got Mark Marrows here against Leif Cassidy for whatever reason. You got a new Intercontinental Champion, Rocky Maivia, who beat Hunter Hearst Helmsley on a Raw Thursday, the week before this show. So The Rock is defending against Triple H for the Intercontinental Championship. So we're already getting that feud underway, which will be a very defining feud here in the late 90s. What else? Is that it? Oh, there's some stupid 6-man with the Nation. I don't know. There's a lot of dumb shit on this show, but I'm sure we'll have a fun time talking about it. You'll just have to stay tuned and find out. Speaking of staying tuned, make sure you stay tuned to the end of this episode where the hardest promotion battle of 1997 continues as we pit WWF against WCW and ECW. We look at the best, the worst, the overall, the individual, like best matches, worst matches, characters, storylines, TV quality. We look at it all and we see which promotion is doing the best. There's point values. There's a bunch of stuff. We grade the show overall. A lot to get into there. Right now, ECW is dominating. That being said, there's only been a few shows this year, so it's a very small sample size. But that's where we're at here. So make sure you stay tuned and see what shakes up with that, whoever has the highest score at the end of 1997 will receive a purchase from the hardest part of the ring. I will purchase a championship belt of that respective company. As you see behind me, got the old Intercontinental Championship over my shoulder. And that is because 1996, WWF was the winner. So now they got a spot on my bookcase behind me. Who will win in 1997? Like I said several times already. Stay tuned to the end of the podcast. It'll be a fun time. Speaking of a fun time, you know who I always have a fun time with? My beautiful, beautiful guests on today's episode, Mike and Dave from the Ruthless Aggression Era podcast, returning to the show. Always a good time with those blokes. You could check out the Ruthless Aggression Era podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube. I'll put all their stuff in the description below. They have a new Twitter handle, by the way, in case you've been not seeing them on social. You've been like, where is my boy Dave and Big Sexy Mike? Well, they have a new Twitter handle, X handle, whatever, what have you, at Ruthless Pod UK. But like I said, I'll put this all in the description. They, as their podcast name suggests, they cover the Ruthless Aggression Era. They cover it from the beginning. They've covered every single pay-per-view, but they also dig into the Raws and the SmackDowns, even an occasional Velocity or Heat, which I've been privileged to join in on their watch-alongs and reviews of the C shows. So go check that out. They're on YouTube. They're always a fun time. Lots of fun watch-alongs and stuff like that. So I always enjoy having these guys on. They have a very, very entertaining podcast. They don't take wrestling too seriously. They just have fun with it, which is a hot commodity nowadays in this wrestling podcast space. So check them out. Give them a follow. Subscribe. Tweedle their nipples. Milk them. Do all those things. And milk me as well at Apron Bump. On all the social medias, apronbump.com for all my full episodes. If you like this timeline, go to apronbump.com. Go to the episodes tab and select Wrestling Wars of the 90s. Also, there will be a link in the description if you would like to see all of the chronological pay-per-views, special events that I've covered, starting from WrestleMania 10 for WWF, WCW, and ECW. I've covered every single pay-per-view since mid-94 through 94, through 95, through 96, and now where we're at in 97. So if you want to come along this journey with me, binge away. It's been a fun old time. And with that, I'm done babbling. Let's get into this bad boy. WWF in your house. What number are we at? 13. Final 4 with myself and the Ruthless Aggression Era podcast.
There's a lot of shit going on. Them poor fuckers have gone through a terrible time.
All of that to build to Eric Bischoff versus Teddy Long on a pay-per-view. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Well, couldn't be any worse than WWF in your house 13 Final 4. Am I right or am I wrong, everybody? So you guys were telling me offline that you loved this show. Thoughts?
Oh, it made me lose my smile.
That's why Shawn. That's what happened to Shawn. He just knew what the card was, and he got sad.
I didn't get involved in that. It made me laugh though because not only did he lose his smile, well, he lost his smile, but he kept his poster place.
Yeah. He got to
because we've got to advertise him. Because for some reason, I don't feel like Vader on the Final 4 poster would attract so much attention than Shawn Michaels and Psycho Sid.
You sure? You don't think this mug? You don't think this mug would bring in people? No? We'll get to that later. No. We'll get to that in a second.
No, absolutely
not. I mean, there's so much. I don't even know where to begin. We might as well start with that Shawn promo, losing his smile, because that kind of set up
losing his smile.
That kind of set up this whole show. Well, the Final 4 was originally supposed to be Steve? It was supposed to be the same people, right?
Yeah. So the Final 4. The Final 4 was designed because of the controversy around the Rumble. Obviously, right. Brett threw Austin out. Austin came back in, threw Brett out.
Right.
Austin won the Rumble. The referees didn't see it because obviously they were distracted. So obviously you've got all this coming around. And then, so that match was supposed to be for the number 1 contendership for WrestleMania. But obviously then Shawn loses his smile. So the Final Four then turns into a match to determine the new WWF champion. And then we somehow get to WrestleMania 13 where it's Undertaker versus Sid, even though Undertaker's got fuck all to do with this match.
Yeah, and I guess we'll touch more on it when we get to the match itself. But it definitely feels like they're kind of keeping their options open. Like they don't. It seems like in this show they don't know what WrestleMania looks like, but they're kind of like they have so many different, because they have a title match on Raw the next night, so they could even switch things up there if they wanted to. But yeah, with Shawn, because the Shawn promo, for anyone unaware, I can't imagine anybody's unaware. He allegedly had a knee injury, so he had to relinquish. Why are you laughing, Dave?
He had a drug addiction. He had no fucking knee injury.
No. He
had a drug addiction. He was doing fucking somas and poppers and everything.
No.
He didn't want to drop the title to Brett.
I don't think so. He told us. He told us that he was doing too many meet and greets, too many house shows, too many meet and greets. He was just running himself ragged. His schedule was just all over the place. So he blew out his knee at some vague point in time that we don't know.
It wasn't his knee that he was getting blown in WWF in fucking this time frame.
Oh.
I feel like Sonny may have sucked the life out of him, let's say.
Sonny sucked away his smile.
Is his smile his cum and he lost it? All of her orifices.
Oh, Jesus. They got more fluids in her than a fucking chemist. I wonder if she's got a girlfriend. Now she's in prison. I wonder if she's got herself a girlfriend.
You gotta think so.
I wonder if we're having sunny days in fucking HMP Florida.
I don't know. It's dusk at this point. It's not very. It's partly cloudy at this point in time in 2024.
It's fucking grim. It's grim.
Well, semen aside, that's how we are here. That's the deck has kind of been shuffled, even though I guess the match itself is kind of the same. It's just the stakes that have been changed, but more on that in a bit. But I guess overall, that losing your smile thing, do you think it was like, put yourself in that point of, were you guys watching live, by the way, at that point in time when he was doing that promo?
I wasn't.
I remember watching the promo, but yeah, I don't think I watched it live. I don't even think I watched it the same week, but I do remember being, what would I have been back then? 11, 12, somewhere around them. So I do remember the promo, and I remember believing that Shawn was like breaking down and he was very upset. And obviously it's only when you grow up and you realize that actually, no, he was fucking riddled full of drugs and he needed to fucking go away for a bit. And also he didn't want to lose to Brett.
Yeah, because like in the moment, like he's crying, like he's got tears running down his face. It's like a pretty well spoken promo if you go back and watch it. Like the fans, they cut the fans in the audience that are crying. It's very emotional. He's putting it off like he may never come back and wrestle again, which I don't know if he really thought.
If you think as well with Shawn Michaels during this time frame, even though he was a face, he was a cocky prick still. And to see this Shawn Michaels, this vulnerable Shawn Michaels, who was like said, was emotional, he had tears running down his face, saying that I don't think I'll ever wrestle again. This could be it. Goodbye. You had everybody in the crowd, like the camera kept panning to young girls who were in tears. Even men were upset. It was such an emotional time because it was how it was delivered. And that's just pro wrestling in a nutshell. It's all about the delivery. It's the presentation and the delivery. You all got sucked in. We all believed Shawn Michaels was injured. We all believed he might never, ever wrestle again. But because none of us knew that he was a fucking drug-riddled lunatic and needed to go away. Quick time.
Right.
Which is a shame as well, because if you think WrestleMania 13, obviously you'll get to that in your time frame. It's quite a lackluster WrestleMania when it comes to the WrestleManias of before and after. Very lackluster. The roster's very thin. Sure, it needed a Shawn Michaels, that WrestleMania, I think. Obviously, they felt lucky with the Bret Hart, Steve Austin double turn and everything else involved in that. Yeah, right. And obviously Sid shitting himself against Taker and all that jazz. But I feel like Shawn Michaels at this time frame is a big loss to the company. Big loss. Whether he's off his tits or not, still a big loss.
What do you guys think would have been WrestleMania 13 had Shawn stuck around? Like in terms of like the world title scene, the main event scene, like, do we still get Brett and Austin?
Well, let's say Shawn sticks around. I think we still get Brett and Austin.
Shawn Sid.
I think they'd find a way of getting it from Austin winning the Rumble to Austin not being in the title match. So right. I think if Michael sticks around still, we still have the controversy, we still have the Fatal 4. We still so let's say, I don't know, Bret wins it, so we go on to Bret Michaels at Mania again.
It seems like that's kind of what they were building to.
Yeah, or you could have Undertaker win it. Vader's got no fucking open. Fuck off. Yeah, fucking just a fat piece of shit. But yeah, so you could have gone Undertaker, but then obviously it's a weird one because if Michaels would have stuck around, somebody would have needed a new opponent. Because obviously Sid would have been probably against Michaels if Bret goes against Austin. So then what happens with Undertaker?
Take a Vader.
Right. So we take a Vader.
Yeah. Taker Farouk. You know they were kind of building, they were doing Nation Taker a little bit. They could have done Taker Farouk earlier. Definitely. Oh, that's something that we'll get onto as well, that this weird early incarnation of the Nation where Savio Vega's still Cuban, fucking Christian looks like a hobo, and Farouk's just Farouk, and D'Lo Brown in a suit.
He's just not wearing any gladiator suit.
Dire straits, that Nation at this point. But, man, there's a lot to get into, so we might as well just jump right into it, boys.
What does everybody want?
Well, first, I will note that the commentary team here is old JR and King, which I believe is the first time, at least on pay-per-view, that's been just those two on pay-per-view on the call. So that's a pretty interesting little tidbit there. Definitely. I mean, taking Vince on commentary, not for me.
What a maneuver.
1, 2,
1, 2, he's gonna.
Cocksucker. This is Vince McMahon.
Are you up to speed with Netflix?
I'm only about halfway through. I watched the first 3 so far, but I've heard it's kind of like whatever. So
it's lackluster. Yeah, lackluster. Yeah. It's not new. Yeah, so you don't really learn much new.
No, yeah, it's from what I've seen so far. It's a fun little package of everything that went on, but yeah, like it's nothing groundbreaking.
You learn new stuff if you've not watched wrestling in the last 5-10 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Speaking of learning new stuff, I learned something new from you, Dave, I believe it was, sent in the chat. This little fella right here.
Oh, Shinobi.
What the fuck is a Shinobi, first of all?
It's fucking what does everybody want? What everybody wants is Leaf Cassidy to have 2 ninja gimmicks.
Okay, yeah, because he was Avatar for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Then became Leaf Cassidy, and then so was Shinobi before ECW? I think we talked about this in the chat. I forget.
Yeah,
was it before ECW?
So I believe. Yeah. So I believe it went. Was Avatar before Leaf Cassidy?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So Avatar. I think it went Avatar, Shinobi, Leaf, or Avatar, Leaf, Shinobi, and then he goes to ECW, finds a styrofoam head, and then obviously comes back in a year or so time to WWF and dominates the hardcore division.
Then becomes one of the greatest European
and
champions.
Eats his own dog.
Like Shinobi isn't even on his Wikipedia.
Shinobi was a shot. I feel like Shinobi may have had 1 or 2 matches on Superstars. I think that was about it. Yeah. It's very same with Avatar though. Avatar was very short-lived.
Fun fact. I was doing a little bit of research on Shinobi, and apparently Shinobi made a return in 2004 to face off against Taz on Heat.
Wow.
Maybe it wasn't Heat. It might have been like a dark match, but it was like a like grainy footage on YouTube.
That went under my radar.
I might have not have been televised, but it's probably just to pop himself. Radar.
Well, I suppose it's one of them, if you look at the Al Snow of like 2001 onwards till he leaves WWE, he doesn't do much. Right. His Al Snow was perfect for the time of the grittiness and the hardcore wrestling, and the stuff that him and Bob Holly did was brilliant. But like you go back to this incarnation of Al Snow when he's Leaf Cassidy with a mustache, he just looked awkward, out of place. The ring attire it's terrible. I never liked the New Rockers anyway. I never liked the New Rockers anyway. But I just think it was a time where we had so many gimmicky tag teams, and the Rockers was just, it kind of fit. But yeah, it was just weird one. And it's one of the matches, well, you're not going to win or you leave. But I think it kind of sets the sort of it sets the tone for this evening, where our opening contest is the Wild Man Mark Mero versus one half of the New Rockers.
Right.
It's like, where's Marty right now? Marty in rehab, drugs.
Yeah, probably.
Well, possibly that as well, but I believe he's dealing with a broken foot at this point, so he's not around. He might even be released from the company at this point. But yeah, he lost.
That's just like how Shawn Michaels had it. His fucking must be a rocker thing.
Yeah, I was about to say they stick together in their bullshit injuries.
Injecting drugs into his foot.
That's
is this when he killed a guy allegedly? I don't know. It's probably around that time. But that's all.
Is that the same time when he wanted to bang his daughter?
Oh, that's
Martin. He's a fruity character in his old Mad Marty.
He's an interesting character for sure.
That's why you just say no.
So it's Mark Marrow versus Leif Cassidy. Random ass match. No story here. It's one half of a tag team facing Mark Marrow, a guy that they're building up here. So we got an enhancement match on pay-per-view, which that automatically annoyed me right out the gate.
Especially when it's the opening contest as well.
It's like when you get a pay-per-view that's built off of heat.
Yeah, but it's like heat bled over into the show. It's like you couldn't have like for example, the dark match for this show, by the way, was the Godwins versus the Headbangers, which I feel like you could have just thrown that.
That could have been opening. That could have opened the show. The Headbangers would have got the crowd going.
Right, and either team could win. It would have been fun. I don't know, but this match just
because we need to get Sable on the show.
That's it. That's really it. By the way, Sable's wearing sunglasses ringside, and Jerry Lawler alludes to the fact that she's wearing sunglasses because Mark Marrow beats her, which is very aggressive. Very aggressive. So this match, it's like 9 minutes. I looked it up because it felt like 30 when I was watching it.
Yeah, it was a long old match. It was a long old match.
Long as it needed to be.
It was like, out of 9 minutes, it was like 8 minutes of Leif just doing random leg submissions on Mark Marrow.
Yep. That modified ankle lock was a lovely one.
Sure, they're fine, but it doesn't fucking matter because, Sable gets involved, distracts Leif, she slaps him. Marrow with a suicide dive, throws him in, shooting star press for the win. So the leg stuff didn't even fucking factor into the match.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? That's the thing. Like, Leif Cassidy spent, as you said, like 7-8 minutes working over Marrow's leg. Like you said, he had like an inverted ankle lock, all sorts of stuff going on. And you think, at least, the minimal, after you've used every ounce of strength left in your leg to throw yourself through the ropes to do a suicide dive, you think the least Mark Marrow could offer us is at least show a little bit of grimace and a little bit of struggle as you're climbing to the top rope. Not just fucking shoot up there like fucking Mario. It's just, fuck you, Johnny B. Bad. Never liked him. Never been... Weird, because I kind of did at the start before I learnt about Mark Marrow. And then I don't know what, something about him is slimy, he's greasy. And I think it all comes down to when he cut his hair and became a boxer / jobber in like the 98, 99, 2000. Like, could not stand Mark Marrow. Never understood the appeal even. Apart from he did a couple of good flip-de-doos from top rope at a time where very little people did flip-de-doos in the WWF.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This era, it's nice to see a shooting star. Sable loves a guy who can be a shooting star.
True that.
No one else is doing it, to your point. And like I don't mind Mark Marrow. I like Mark Marrow better than Johnny B. Bad. Johnny B. Bad was just the Little Richard stuff.
Gay.
It was the spot. I don't mind, be gay. Who cares? I don't mind. Like, I sent you a link called gay porn and you opened it, so you have no right to say anything. But
I was disappointed when it was just this link, to be fair. Not gonna lie.
Well, gay porn is subjective. It's, we could be working our way there.
Take tops off.
So, a really nothing match here. Pretty boring stuff, but just here to showcase Sable, here to showcase the shooting star. That's really ultimately all this is.
Really showcase Sable.
Yeah. And
also, where the fuck she was on that distraction.
Yeah, she just, I don't know. Leif went out there for no reason, and then she slapped him, but it was no I don't know. There's so many issues with that, but...
Well, isn't Mark Marrow the face in all of this?
Allegedly.
And wasn't Sable doing very heelish things?
Yes.
I think, they're in a transitionary period for his character, I think. So I think we might be, I don't know when the boxer stuff starts happening. It's got to be...
Is it around Brawl for All?
Does it become the boxer before or after she pounds him?
After.
Before.
After, because Miss Jackie gets involved. Oh, no, yeah, before, sorry, yeah. He is already hair short when she powerbombs him and when she beats him. But yeah, because Miss Jackie gets involved. SummerSlam 98, they have the match, don't they, where it's Jackie Lynn and Mero versus Sable in the debuting Edge.
Right. Yeah, good call.
So it'll be around, I imagine, the summer of 98 sort of thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the opening match was fucking toss. Like 0.5 Mavens, if we're going to give it one of them.
Like, to get you hyped for a pay-per-view, you're going to throw this out there? Like...
No. Imagine if you're in attendance and you've just had the Godwins versus the Headbangers, and you've just had Leif Cassidy versus the Wild Man. Like, God, this is a pay-per-view and a half, this is. Bring it on.
Well, you know what could bring these people back up?
Oh, the Honky Tonk Man.
Honky Tonk Man. Yes, sir, for no... fucking well, actually, hold on. I would guess because it's at this point.
Long side birds and my head slicked back. I'm gonna do your town in my mean Cadillac. I'm just a honky tonk man.
He's a honky tonk man.
I'm just a honky tonk man.
He's a honky tonk man.
He's a honky tonk man. He's cool. I'm cocky. I'm bad. Loved him. Can't beat some honky tonk. Even in 2024, if honky tonk came out, I'd pop. Loved honky tonk.
You guys are just a couple of Yanks at heart. I knew it.
Ironically, though, not really a big fan of Elvis, but Honky Tonk Man, love him.
I think I don't know if they're exactly. You gotta be fans of both of them.
Because you have his cosplay.
I guess.
Elvis Presley cosplays Honky Tonk Man.
Right? Yeah. Honky walked, so Elvis could run. I'm here. I'm with you.
100%.
Well,
so mad though that Honky's still alive. Do you know what I mean? That proves a
lot. Somehow.
It's mad though. There's a lot of them wrestlers from the 80s that you think, how the fuck are you still going? Well, we've lost so many. So many wrestlers have died through drugs and everything. Yeah, but like Greg Hammer Valentine, Brutus Beefcake, Honky Tonk Man. There's so many from the 80s that are still alive, but yet so many from the 90s that are dead.
Dude, I'll watch WCW. Crazy. And there'll be like a segment with like Ric Flair and Macho Man and Woman and like Miss Elizabeth and Boss Man. It's like, how is Ric Flair the only guy here that's still alive?
Woman didn't really have a choice.
I think it's Royal Rumble 1992 that's got the highest death to alive ratio. I'm sure it's like something along the lines of like 22 of the 30 are dead now.
Right. Interesting.
I think it's crazy. But the same thing, like I said, you go back to the 80s though, and there's so many guys that you think would have died years ago because of how like drugs were rife and everything else was so rife then, but yet they're all still alive. But yet there's so many from after them that like your Mr. Perfects of the world, your Rick Rudes of the world. There's so many of them that are dead now. And it's just, but yeah, Brutus Beefcake and Greg the Hammer are still going, and 50% of the Bushwhackers, and there's a lot that are still going. 50%.
Well, I'll tell you who's still alive is Shawn Michaels somehow, because it's at this point in the show, because a Honky Tonk Man comes out, then they cut to the Shawn Michaels promo from Raw the previous week. They show pretty much the entire promo. I guess they just sent Honky Tonk Man out there to entertain the live audience, I would assume.
Yeah, buddy.
Because because they show the promo and then they cut back to the entrances for the next match. So Honky Tonk Man doesn't show up again on the show. So it's like, well, what the fuck was he here for? But I guess it was just...
Are we in that period of time now where Honky Tonk Man's still looking for somebody? Or has he found...
Yes. No, he's still looking. He's still looking for the Billy. So if he's
still looking, has he potentially come out and cut a promo to the live crowd about how he's looking for his next protege?
Probably.
Where us at home have been treated, instead of that, because it's all about Shawn Michaels and his smile. So we've been treated to the video package of Shawn Michaels losing his smile.
Right.
Maybe. Well, or they just had his music. They had Honky Tonk Man come out, wave at the crowd, and then the lights went dark, and even the live crowd saw the video package as well.
Yeah.
Basically, perhaps. I think what we're trying to get to is, so far in this pay-per-view, it's been a waste of fucking time.
Yes, ultimately that's the bottom line there.
I think so.
So we get a Sid promos in here somewhere, basically, because he's not on the card tonight, but he's going to be facing the winner, like we mentioned, of the Final Four main event. So he's here. He's doing his Sid thing. Love a good Sid promo. So no complaints from me.
Oh, yes. The intensity from one Mr. Vicious. Fantastic. The thing is with Sid, he's always had the same gimmick, and the same character, even though way back in the 80s when he debuted, he's always been monster gimmick, monster heel who speaks with so much gravel in his voice. Yeah. But he's also, he's very, I tell you where Sid's promos, for me, similar, but a lot of people may disagree, to how Jake the Snake Roberts delivered a promo.
I was going to say the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, exactly how he delivered a promo. It was slow, but every single word had so much intensity behind it.
You understood what he was saying.
Yeah. If Sid Vicious explained to you, it may be very methodically, but he explained to you very slowly how he was going to win and he was going to win, and he's because he's the master and the ruler of the world. And Sid's fucking brilliant. And also R.I.P. Sid, because he's not long passed away. Legend of the game.
Sid is great.
I was pop like shit when Heath Slater was doing his little Legends run. And Sid came back, and it's like, fuck me, the last time I saw you broke your leg against Steiner. You know, and I'd not heard from Sid in years. And he looked great, to be fair. He looked in great condition.
Nice to see him walking about, to be fair.
Yeah.
Still pretty jacked.
And then he started... And then I'm sure he started social media, did Sid. I'm sure he was very active on Facebook. He had but not like a Facebook page like Paul Heyman has, where he just shares, or somebody working for him shares pictures and photos and promos. Psycho Sid had a page where it was like, morning everybody, I'm having eggs for breakfast. A proper profile, Facebook profile. Adam Bomb, he's another one. Adam Bomb's got a Facebook profile. And he follows us on TikTok.
Oh man, big Adam Bomb guys. Yeah, that's what the show needed. More Adam Bomb, more of those footballs to throw into the crowd. Yeah.
The thing is with Adam Bomb, I don't know if you've seen him recently. He's got such a roidy face. Like, do you know when people in the rest in the 80s took roids and their belly fucking grew? Yeah. Well, Adam Bomb's had that much surgery to his face. He's got this round face now that's like nearly perfectly round, and he's got he looks like an 80s rock star in 2024. He's had so much work done. It's crazy.
Adam Bomb. Let me get a look at this fella. Let me get a look at this.
Look at Adam Bomb 2024. You need to see that face. It is horrific.
Okay. Yeah, he looks
how much work he's had done.
Looks like a skeezy porn star. I don't know. There's something about him.
Yeah.
It's like you definitely paid these women.
Untrustworthy. Yeah, he looks untrustworthy.
Yeah. It's not.
Don't get in his car.
No.
I'll try not to.
I think he's got a podcast. I'm sure Adam Bomb does. Every fucker's got a podcast now.
I was about to say he's bound to have a podcast.
I'm not going to lie though. There's one podcast I am loving at the minute, and that's Undertaker's. The stories that the Undertaker's coming up with and come out with. Like, have you watched the episode where Maven was a guest?
Yeah,
I have not. No, I need to watch it.
You need to. You need to. It's brilliant because it's so. There's so many. Obviously, Undertaker's had like a 30-year+ career. So many stories that he never had the opportunity to tell because he was always in character.
Mm-hmm.
You kept kayfabe
and some of his stories are brilliant. I'd highly recommend the. Have you noticed how many times we're digressing because this pay-per-view fucking sucks?
We gotta milk some content out of this show. I don't blame you. Fun fact.
We've got to get an hour at least.
I did go to Undertaker's one-man show back a year or two ago. That was pretty. It was mostly about his pre-WWE career. So it was like stuff I had never heard about. It was weird just seeing Undertaker come out in a t-shirt and jeans with a microphone. It's like, goddamn, I was out there. Like, it's bizarre. There's a guy.
How much we're talking ticket prices?
I can't remember. It was, it was probably about what you would expect. It wasn't crazy.
He came over to England to do a one-man show a couple of years ago. And there was a lot of controversy because, I think the cheapest ticket was about £150.
Oh, it wasn't that much.
So like $200 or something like that. Yeah, it was a lot of money, and that was the cheapest ticket. There was like a VIP ticket, which was like a meet and greet beforehand, front row ticket on the one man show, and I think that was somewhere in the region of like £300-500. It was crazy, but this was the time where he just left WWE and he was making his own money on the circuit, and it was all like, do you know what I mean? So it was crazy the amount of money that it was charging, but people go. If I would have had unlimited funds, and the Undertaker never does this. And this is the thing with them. Like, if you want to hear Jim Cornette talk about wrestling stories, go onto YouTube. Right. There is millions of videos. You want to hear the Undertaker talk before he started doing this podcast? There's 1, 2, 3. Do you know what I mean? Where he's done the odd interview over the years, but he's generally usually been in character. So I can understand, like, I think if it would have been more affordable, I definitely would go to something like that. Definitely. Like, we went to the Mick Foley one-man show a few years ago. And I think that was 30 quid, 40 quid a ticket.
Yeah, he just goes to like local comedy clubs and does his thing sometimes.
Oh, he came to Sheffield United, who was the football team that I support. He came to our ground, into one of our business suites, and that's where he did his one-man show.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was brilliant. He came out and it was like an hour of him just sat there telling stories. Oh, it was fantastic.
It was great.
But it was also affordable because, as much as these guys are interesting to listen to stories to, the internet is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So if you want to if you want to just listen to stories, go on the internet. If you want to experience seeing that person in person and it's not recorded, so they can be a bit more risque with how they talk and stuff like that, then these one-man shows are brilliant. Apps like the Inside the Rope shows, they're fantastic. They are. I love when they upload the clips onto YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So a meet and greet with Undertaker would be fucking amazing, I imagine. But the prices they were charging the last time we did it over here, fucking no chance, Mark.
Well, tell you,
I'm not that much of a mark for Mark to be spending that much money.
When he came here, there was an option. I think it was like $300. It was for a meet and greet, but you could also go on stage with him and take a shot of Jack Daniels.
Oh, see, I would have done that. I would have been all over that.
I was tempted. I didn't because you can't justify that. But so he's at least figured out other stuff to offer to justify the price, I guess. But speaking of justifying the price, this match did not justify the price of this pay-per-view because, by golly, six-man tag. We got the Nation of Masturbation. We got Crush, Farouk, and Savio Vega versus... quite a cast of characters. We got Bart Gunn, Flash Funk, and Goldust. So what the fuck are we doing here?
So straight away, as Bart Gunn came out on his own, I was like, oh yeah, they split the Smoking Guns up, didn't they? Why is Bart Gunn? I hate when they do this with a tag team. They split the tag team up, somebody goes on to do something else, but the other half of the tag team just still looks like the tag team. Like going back to the
Same
Rockers.
Music.
When the original Rockers split up, Marty Jannetty was still the Rockers.
Shield, Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns was still the Shield for years.
Right.
When the job, I think you need to, unless you're going to be serious, take it serious. Like Bart Gunn was never going to be serious. Like they never expected Bart Gunn to be as hard as he was and win fucking Brawl for All, and then get knocked out in 5 seconds by Butterbean. They never expected anything for Bart Gunn. Hence why he's still just pew 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 cowboy. But like I said, what a collective fucking cast. So you've got Bart Gunn, fucking Too Cold Scorpio, and fucking Goldust going up against Hobo Crush, Cuban Savio Vega, and why is Farouk not in that blue gear anymore? And who are all these black men in suits with them two rappers that are white?
Well, the match itself, first of all, I don't have a lot to say about
it. We are the Nation.
It's interesting that one of the nameless henchmen with the Nation is probably had a better career than anybody.
100%.
In WWE, at least. D'Lo Brown's out there. Don't even name him by name. He's just one of the guys in suits with the Nation.
Yeah.
Hasn't wrestled yet, but Bart Gunn, Flash Funk, Goldust would be the only, maybe he had the better career than D'Lo, but outside of that, D'Lo is probably the most successful guy out here. But
obviously, if we're going just WWF, because obviously if we're going like company wide, obviously Farouk was world champion in WCW, but Ron Simmons was world champion. Farouk was never a world champion.
No.
Even though Farouk had a great career, he had a great, especially that last year of the run with the APA was phenomenal work. But like I said, if we're going just singles titles, D'Lo's former multiple-time European champion, IC champion. He was probably there'd probably be one or two more that would be in front of him when it comes to like the king of the mid card in 99, 2000. When D'Lo Brown was at his height, everyone loved his head wobble. Everyone loved D'Lo Brown's theme music. Everyone loved the fact that D'Lo Brown had his own unique moveset, where no one did the moves that D'Lo Brown did. Yeah. Your sky highs, your low downs, his fucking boom leg drop. D'Lo Brown was so unique. So compared to everybody else, especially in a time where every wrestler had 2 moves, D'Lo Brown had 6 moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that made him stand out. Yeah. But like you said, he's unnamed. They don't speak. He's just a black guy in a suit. So obviously Clarence Mason, he's another one that's just a black guy in a suit, but people knew of him because of his roles with like Owen Hart and the Bulldog and Camp Cornette and everything else. Where like D'Lo Brown, then you've got, what did they call them? PG-13?
Yes, JC Ice and Wolfie D. Yep.
Yeah.
Who could forget? I mean, look, I love the presentation of the Nation right here. It feels like a posse is around them, you know, Farouk with the hat and the jacket, and then everybody with the tuxedos around them. Like the presentation is cool, but some of the like Crush. Let's talk about Crush for a second.
With his stupid fucking pen on his head.
So right now, so when I do these shows, afterwards, I like look at the best and the worst of wrestling at this point. In 1997, I have Crush pegged as the worst wrestler of the year so far. He fucking stinks. Yes. He stinks.
The thing is, it looks like he stinks as well. The thing is with Crush, obviously, Crush has gone through so many gimmick changes. So many. Where like he debuted as part of Demolition. When it was like with his Smash, when was it Axe or Smash? I think it was Axe who couldn't like continue, was like getting really old and had to kind of because Smash was Barry Darso and he went on to be a golfer in WCW
and Blacktop Bully.
So Axe was so Axe was obviously getting a bit old, so they brought Crush in. That didn't really work, so then they proper 180'd him and turned him into a Hawaiian surfer dude, Kona Crush. Obviously, he had his feud with Doink. You know, and he had a WrestleMania match at WrestleMania.
That might have been the best iteration of Crush.
Yeah, the double doinks. And obviously his finisher where he just fucking squeezed your head. And then obviously we turned a bit weird with Crush because then we turned him into this Japanese sympathizer, kung fu gimmick, face paint, a bit odd. Like he got to the final 3 of Rumble 95. I'm struggling to think of any more highlights. Crush never went anywhere from there. He went downhill. They turned him heel. They signed him with Mr. Fuji and Yoko and everything else and Cornette, but none of it didn't work. And then Crush went to prison in real life, come back out, looked like a hobo, and now I totally agree. Obviously, before that we had DOA, which wasn't ever going to go anywhere because I think that's after this stables. Actually. Yes, it is. No, yes, it's when they get kicked out of the Nation.
Right. That's not bad. DOA is fine for what it is, at least in comparison to this for Crush.
Savio starts Los Barricos, doesn't he? And obviously Crush starts DOA. But yeah, this Crush in this period of time, he doesn't have many moves. I think his finish is the heart punch.
Yes.
I think his finish. It's not great.
Plodding. He's just a plodding guy.
Nation Crush is not great.
And then
he's just desperate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. But sticking within the Nation, we got Savio Vega, new member of the Nation of Domination, which I didn't even realize he was ever a part of the Nation.
I didn't even know it happened.
Oh yeah, fully aware. Like I said, this original Nation used to always make me laugh because obviously I think it's the next pay-per-view, which is what, WrestleMania? Is it, or is there one in between?
No, WrestleMania is the next one.
Oh no, it's WrestleMania. Yeah, Savio and Crush. Well, not Crush, because Crush always wears this gear, but Savio does turn a bit more Nation colours and drops the Savio Vega attire that was in the King.
Because it's the exact same attire he's been wearing. The Puerto Rican colors, the ding, 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 ding. Like it's the same thing. He just happens to be wearing a leather jacket and sunglasses. Like, this fucking guy. Farouk's looking like a badass though, so no real complaints there. Then on the opposite side of the coin, we talked about Bart Gunn, how he's just still smoking guns guy, but just Bart. We got Goldust, who's Goldust. We'll kind of talk about him a little bit more later as well. And then Flash Funk, old Too Cold Scorpio.
There you go. He is the guy.
It makes me laugh how on the nose the same this gimmick is to when Brodus Clay did it. Like decades.
Oh
later.
Yes, definitely, 100%. 2 black girls dancing with him as well.
The similar music, similar attire, the hat,
the
everything.
Funkettes and the Funkadactyls.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? It's the same. It's a proper. When they brought Brodus Clay out, 100% carbon copy rip off. Flash Funk. But I do feel that Flash Funk was never needed because at this match, Too Cold Scorpio was given his moments, was allowed to shine, to show you what he can do. But I think he was never, ever given that actual opportunity to show you exactly what he could do. Like the only time they ever called him Scorpio was when he was running with the fucking jobbers.
Yep.
And they had a faction to tell the world that we're the fucking jobbers.
The Job Squad. Gotta love it.
But he was never given the opportunity to be Scorpio. Because Scorpio in ECW, Scorpio around the world was fucking outstanding. Again, in a time period where people didn't do the sort of stuff that he did.
Yeah. In ECW, he was killing it. He was a standout there, and he could have been a standout here.
And what also got me was the opening match had like 20 minutes with two guys that were really boring. But this match is involving 6 people and doesn't even go on for 7 minutes.
No, it breaks down right away.
Make it make sense, Kyle.
I can't, David, because Farouk grabs the mic. The mic isn't working, so Goldust just Pearl Harbor jobs him. Just starts the match right away. Everybody's in the ring. It breaks down. Flash Funk, like you said, he gets his time to shine. Some dives off the top rope onto everybody on the outside. You got Bart hitting Flash with a rocket launcher, so tossing him over the top rope onto everybody. But then the Nation gets control for a bit, and Farouk at one point calls Flash a Southern black redneck, which feels a bit rude. His Ahmed's not there, so he needs to call somebody an Uncle Tom, I guess. So by the way, Ahmed Johnson, I think he's injured again.
Yeah.
They keep trying to do this feud, but it's not working.
I think the feud goes on for 2 years because Ahmed Johnson injured. Was it his kidney problems he had to begin with? And then he got a leg injury, then he got a back injury, and then he got fat.
But he doesn't get fat until WCW with the Harlem Heat, but I get your point.
Yeah, but this.
I don't remember that.
And now, is Ahmed Johnson still alive?
I think so. Somehow. What's Ahmed?
And he's fat.
What's he up to?
I remember he's very, very fat.
Let's see here. That's how those jacked guys get when they get older. A big T.
Oh, big T.
Get off the steroids. Yeah. That wasn't his turns to fat.
Yeah. Would you like a drink? Yeah. Can I have an Ahmed Johnson? What do you mean? A big T.
Well, his wrestling career stopped in 2003.
No, it didn't. It stopped in about 95.
No. He was in the independent circuit. Wrestled Monty Brown. No, he teamed with Monty Brown. That's fun.
Jeez.
That's fun. I need to see that match. So just some random indie, I guess, but that's probably shit. But well, anyways, so we're here. The match is what it is. I mean, anything in this match stick out to you guys in particular?
No.
All right, next.
No.
So we got
No.
Actually, the finish made me mad. Pretty much all the finishes on this show make me mad. So the finish is, let's see if I can follow my notes here. So Bart hits Farouk.
Ref got distracted by Goldust.
Yes, ref gets distracted, which allows Crush to hit a shitty leg drop on the Flash Funk. Farouk makes the pin.
Onto Bart. That was onto Bart, and then Farouk makes the pin because the leader's got to get the victory.
Correct. But Bart,
even though he had nothing to do with the move.
Bart's shoulder, he's not even close to being flat on the mat. He is literally sideways. His shoulder couldn't be farther off the mat, but they're like, whatever, just get the match over with. Nobody's watching anyways. Let's just get him out of here. So another waste of time match.
What they're doing on the WCW? What's Nitro doing right now?
Yeah. But this show so far is like enhancement. We're enhancing Mark Marrow. We're showing you a recap of what happened on Raw last week, and now we're just enhancing the Nation. Like nothing particularly gripping so far here.
No, I feel like it's a pay-per-view that wasn't needed to be a pay-per-view. It's just an extended episode of Raw. Yeah,
it is
just an extended episode of Raw.
It's for the main event. I mean, the show is to set up WrestleMania in a few ways, but we cut backstage after that to Doc Hendricks with Stone Cold Steve Austin backstage. So obviously he's confronting the Royal Rumble controversy. Austin's, of course, is like, well, goddamn, I won the Rumble. I shouldn't even be able to wrestle in this match. Whatever, go, yeah, what? All that shit. My question,
7 years people have been holding Austin down, and this is just another example of it.
So it's pretty good stuff. Good promo from Austin here. I love what he's, I mean, at this point, just from a character perspective, because obviously he would go on to be more popular in the merch and whatever the hell, right? But as a character, where do you guys see this in terms of his peak? Like, is this his peak, or is he not quite there yet?
No.
I think we're still learning. We're definitely learning. We're not quite ringmaster,
right?
But I think we're definitely nowhere near peak Austin and McMahon era Austin. I think a big shift in everything involved Stone Cold Steve Austin happens in a month's time at WrestleMania. I think up to this point, I think the audience now are starting to take notice of Austin, especially with the Rumble and everything else that's going on. And they're starting to take notice because no one really delivers a promo like Austin does. No one talks with the sort of attitude that Austin does. And already you're like, oh, this Austin guy kind of didn't give a fuck, does he? But I think everyone still remembers the Ringmaster. And I think once it gets to a point where we forget about the Ringmaster and we move on to Austin being Austin, that's when Austin truly becomes Austin.
Right. Yeah. Is it just like a layer?
He's still quite the wrestler. He's Stone Cold. Yeah, like the Austin that we all know and love had 0 moves. Well, to give a lie, he did a Lufez press and a fucking elbow front middle rope, but he had 0 moves.
Yeah.
Right? The odd suplex maybe, but the Austin of the Ringmaster era was still very much of the stunning Steve Austin vibe, where he had a lot more moves and he was a lot quick around the ring. Obviously, this was before any knee injuries, before the back injury.
I was about to say, at this point, he can still move as well. So,
yeah, he's got no injuries. So obviously, he does have to change his style when the knees give way and the neck gives way and stuff like that. But yeah, when it comes to like peak Austin, I think we're about 20% there.
Yeah, definitely still building towards it.
Everything that's there. Yeah, everything that's there. He's got the foundations, definitely. But we just need that to add all them layers now that he adds over the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, we've already done like the Pillman's got a gun thing. They had the Brett and Austin match at Survivor Series a few months ago, and we're still kind of building the Austin Brett thing here. His promo style here stands out. Like you said, he comes off like a legit badass, which you don't have a lot of those at this point. So I'm loving what he's doing as a character at this point. But yeah, I think once we get to WrestleMania 13, that's probably like a big boost, I would assume. So, but good stuff here. And after that,
needed for him.
Yeah, for sure. But after that, we get maybe, I don't know if it's match of the night. I guess you could argue. It's hard to compare this against the main event, but we got the Intercontinental Championship on the line. The new champion, Rocky Maivia, defending against
Thursday.
defending against Hunter Hearst Helmsley, which, as you mentioned, on Thursday, Raw Thursday, I think was it the last Thursday or maybe 2 Thursdays ago. Triple H lost the title to Rocky in an upset. Small package, I believe. It came out of nowhere. So crazy win for Rocky at this stage. Still very new, only a few months into his run here, and is already a champion. So we got Rocky versus Hunter. In hindsight, it's hilarious because these two guys are running the company now, and now they're just like in an intercontinental title match. But we got a pretty good match. I mean, this is a solid one-on-one match here. And really kind of kickstarting this feud that I feel like, I guess my question, are there any two guys that have been more like mutually beneficial to each other than Rock and Hunter? Because these guys elevated each other for like the next year or two to the point where they were...
Cena Orton. I think they're the only two that you could bring.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Cena Orton, they started like fighting in the mid-2000s and carry on fighting until the mid-2010s.
Maybe Rock Austin.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, I think, yeah. If you actually have to look at the eras when they've competed against each other, though, I think sort of Cena and Orton didn't really meet till they were both proper, like established top tier guys.
Yeah,
right.
Where Hunter and Rock, they both came with their shitty gimmicks to begin with. When he was the aristocrat and Rocky was the fucking blue collar, blue blood even. And obviously they moved on when you had Nation versus DX. They moved on when you had Corporation versus DX. They moved on when Hunter was part of Corporation and Rock was now the everyone's favorite. They moved on again. Helmsley McMahon era.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rock being the fucking your wife's a slag. Do you know what I mean? So and it's always moved on and moved on and moved on and moved on. Where I think for me, your closest comparison would be Randy Orton and Cena, but they were both relatively top tier when they started just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting for like 180,000 times or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't think there is any other.
What's that, Mike?
I don't think there is any other.
Yeah. Because like you said, Rocky and H, they were, even at this point, like two kind of goofy gimmicks, or lack of in the case of Rocky. And like you said, eventually, like the next year, that ladder match at SummerSlam, I believe it was incredible, which took him to a different level. And then the corporation and DX, the Nation and DX stuff. And then you have, at some point, they're just two individuals that are at the top of the company facing each other. And now they're running the company. So it's just the most dramatic arc, I think, of any two people. Whereas, like you said, Cena and Orton were kind of already there at that point. But that being said, match itself is pretty good. Finally feels like there's a little bit of fire in these matches. Like the match starts with some like pie facing and they're like slapping each other. Yes, there's stakes. Feels like these guys don't like each other. Feels like they want to win a match, which is such a novel concept here. What
would you think in a wrestling match that somebody wants to fucking win it?
Insane. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on this one? I thought it was pretty good.
It was a decent match. We covered it on our Patreon.
The Hunter Games, yes, of course.
Nice little plug there.
Yeah, I think this was it was one of them where it was one of the earlier matches in their feud, but also one of the ones that kind of set the precedent for their feud. Because if you imagine, if you're a Triple H or you're a Rock in this era, you're surrounded by your Bret Harts, your Shawn Michaelses, your Undertakers, your Psycho Sids to an extent.
Right.
Like, we need to kind of show the world that we are this next generation.
Yeah.
Even though they're not in the new generation era anymore, this is the new generation of wrestlers. And it's kind of proven to the world, I think, that like I said, the feud isn't, for me, the feud peaks at SummerSlam 98 with a ladder match. That's outstanding. That tells the world that these two guys are going to be, for the next 10, 15 years, your next two guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, and I think, but for me, this was one where I was quite happy with the Triple H title run, but then obviously they want to push Rock, because obviously the Rock's got the family history, the name, the gimmick's got both his granddad and his dad's name, and you can understand why they want to push Rock as this new guy. And what better way to do it, like they used to do it back in the day, where you debut, you win the IC, then you eventually win the world title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this like current feud is kind of just letting the world know that one day probably both of them are going to be a multiple-time world champion, because the stuff that these guys, the chemistry as well that they had, the chemistry at such an early age, you can see why they go on and have so many iconic matches together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think at this point, Rock still has some goodwill with the audience. I don't think he's been super shoved down their throat yet. I know at some point, the crowd turns on him, the Die Rocky Die stuff that's been talked about for years.
I think because he's very vanilla, isn't he? With a lot, like there was probably only one moment in this match where he did his DDT and it was a bit sloppy, and Hunter looked like he could have hurt himself. But he's very vanilla with his wrestling. Yeah. Like his moveset is very vanilla. I can 100%. He does hit a nice crossbody, but again, going back to what I said about Randy Orton many years ago. Right, Randy Orton, you drop that crossbody, mate, if you want to be a main eventer. Main event wrestlers don't do crossbodies.
I was about to say, like, at this point, Rock's moveset is more impressive than it was when he was a main eventer. Like you said, the crossbody, beautiful crossbody. The shoulder breaker is a bit silly of a finish, but sometimes when he hits it, it looks pretty brutal. That spinning DDT, like you said, I thought it fucking paralyzed Triple H. It looked nasty. So he's got some fun stuff, but
when they get to main event, they have to.
I feel like it didn't need the finish that it had. I feel like we could have had one of them going over cleaner than having Goldust obviously come out and the shenanigans and everything else and the distraction.
Right.
But I suppose that also then pushes the match on. We can have these two fight again.
Yes.
And obviously, but do you know what I mean? So it is one of them where a clean finish sometimes is not the right decision, because that's like the be all and end all of the feud. When we've got two young guys like this, we can easily push another 5-10 matches out of this the next
and
year. And
definitely, they probably have no plans to end it at any point. So
they
kind of don't when you really think about it over the years. But so to your point, match comes to a point where Goldust comes out because him and Goldust and Triple H had been feuding for a bit, basically centering around Marlena. I guess Triple H wants to fuck Marlena and Goldust doesn't want him to, I think is the feud. Do I have that right? Yeah. So Goldust comes out, shows Triple H's ass, does a little wiggle for him. Triple H is mesmerized by his golden ass. So Triple H is distracted, and this allows Rock to capitalize on the distraction with a German suplex with a bridge for the win.
Which is a move you don't see anymore.
You
don't Chad Gable does it, doesn't he? But he does that rolling thing that he does. It's very impressive. But you don't see often enough for me someone winning with a German suplex and a bridge, because for me it's a great pinning combination. Because if you've got a guy that's bigger than you and stronger than you, he can pin you down, and your body's contorted, and he can pin you down to make sure that you cannot physically get your shoulders up because your fucking legs are in the way.
But it's also like the impact of the move can knock you out a bit, but also it's the same effect.
Back of the head.
Right.
It's brilliant.
Same effect as like a roll up out of nowhere, but with the impact added to it. So it's solid. It's solid.
That's it. It's solid. So you don't see enough of it. But then obviously after the match, fuck me, who's that fella in crowd? And it's even better because JR goes, is that a man or is that a woman?
Oh, well, she's got a big old clit on her, but no, it is a woman. Chyna,
that lady,
debuting here.
Was it
the clit? Yeah, it was big.
No, I don't. I've seen.
Yeah, we all have.
Watching X-Pac go wild on her.
One Night in China.
Break it down. He's got two words for you, Chyna.
There we go.
100% he told her to suck it.
Oh, 100. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of them. But you can see why she had so much surgery done, because we spoke about this when we covered this. The original Chyna, God rest her soul, right, was one ugly man. Ugly, right? Really.
She's a handsome woman.
The fact is, what makes it even more disturbing is that Triple H used to find that sexually arousing.
Hey, I mean, guys like being pegged. Amazon position, I haven't done the research.
Yeah, but the thing is, I bet she could peg him with a clit.
Probably, she probably did. It's probably bigger than my little penis, but so Chyna's here.
Bigger than his nose.
Oh, bigger, yeah. I mean,
Chyna is here.
Chyna's here. Chyna's queer, and Chyna chokes out Marlena because she's just like a quote unquote fan in the crowd. Marlena's up against the barricade. Chyna chokes her out. And
a fan in the crowd where the security is like, I'm not fucking getting involved in that.
They need like 87 security people to carry her out of there. So the first sighting of Chyna. But to your point, in terms of her look and whatever the masculine features of her, I think it worked because she would end up being like the bodyguard of DX. So I thought it worked for sure. I thought the visual was fun. Like, you don't see a woman body, especially at that point, a woman heavy for, two guys. So I thought it was cool little twist there, but more on Chyna.
They know that they're not going to attack him if Chyna's in front of him.
Exactly. So it's like the best of both worlds. So we got a Vader promo here, and I actually have a clip here because I think
Federation champion and Paul Bearer.
We need to do a little bit of an analysis here on this Vader promo with Kevin Kelly.
Let's go.
So I believe Vader. So what does he say? He says, "You done let that alligator butt get to that canary mouth." Wait, hold on. Let me. But he mixes up the words. So let's just listen.
Federation champion and Paul Bearer.
He's talking about alligators and canaries.
Thinks it's going to be his man Vader tonight.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. You've done let that gator butt.
Canator. This is why this asshole doesn't talk.
Because he doesn't. Piece of shit.
Well, what's the phrase here?
Get that canary.
Let me see.
Let that gator butt. Get that canary mouth in trouble, brother.
What does that mean?
So he's got a gator butt with a canary mouth.
Is he saying he's got a pretty mouth?
Is he saying he talks too much? Because canaries go on and on and on, don't they?
Oh.
So is he saying he talks too much?
Well, let me make sure
I don't understand why. But what's the scary thing about having an alligator ass? Because for me, having an ass like an alligator would be very scaly.
Does that mean he's tough? Like alligators skin? Like he's a tough.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so. We're going with he's a gobby little. He's a tough little gobshite.
I think this is a different way of saying you've written a check that your ass can't cash.
Ass can't cash.
Yeah,
definitely.
I see. Okay, I think
a more redneck version
because he's tough on the outside, but on the inside he's a canary. I think is kind of.
He's like an armadillo. Crunchy on the outside and soft in the inside.
Interesting. Oh, I'm glad we could figure that out because that was just baffling me. I'm glad.
He's a fat piece of shit.
Vader. He's such a. I mean, the look. It like cuts to him. Like, why is this his face? Is that intimidating?
Show me your cum face.
I mean, there is it. It looks like there should be drool dripping down of his mouth.
It looks like he's a Make-A-Wish guy who's given an opportunity to wrestle for one.
Oh, he's giving Eugene vibes for sure. Yeah, it's
this guy. Look at Kevin Kelly over his shoulder. Well, this guy,
Kevin Kelly,
was one of, if not the most dominant guy for a long period of time in WCW. Right, was like he had some of the most roughest, meanest matches in New Japan. Do you know what I mean? We were fighting with fireworks and bombs and all sorts of jazz, ripping ears off and all sorts of crap, popping eyes out, everything. But he's a fat piece of shit in the WWF.
He's so fucking. I don't know, man. That Shawn Michaels match.
All down to Shawn Michaels and his fucking. I tell you what, it all comes down to Vader not being in position and Michaels jumping off the top rope and kicking him and going, "You fucking knobhead, get in position."
Stupid.
Yeah, and then he's gone back to Vince and said, "Nah, this big fucker's useless, you know."
Ugh.
And then that's it, because like Shawn Michaels and Vince used to like share drugs and penises and whatever. Vader straight away got binned off to the point where he debuted in SummerSlam '96. We're now in what are we in April '97?
February '97.
February '97 already is a terrible piece of shit, and it carries on to Judgment Day in '98 when he's a fat piece of shit against Kane. Do you know what I mean? It goes on for a long time of Vader being crap.
Yeah, matches with Justin Hawk Bradshaw and
buddy, teaming with Gold. No, it's a team with Mankind for a bit under Paul Bearer.
Yeah. I think we are in the midst of that, if not past that at this point. But it's like around this point for sure. But that leads us into the World Tag Team title match. We got the team of Owen Hart and British Bulldog defending against the team of Doug Furnas and Philip LaFon. The Can-Am Connection, I believe is what they were called, right?
Idea who they are.
You've never seen Doug Furnas and Philip LaFon? Oh, wowzers. Yeah,
to me, this is just Owen and Bulldog versus two French jobbers.
How dare you?
See, this is where you're so wrong.
Tell them.
You are so wrong.
Let them know.
Philip LaFon, right, and Doug Furnas they were, imagine fucking, what do they call them? Them two knobheads that are in AEW now, used to be in WWE.
It's a lot.
Dash and fucking Axe.
Oh, FTR. FTR.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right. Imagine that team, in the fucking 90s. Like these two,
they would be better.
These two were so good at technical wrestling. These two were brilliant. These two were ahead of the game. These two are probably on par with Owen Hart and British Bulldog. But how they were presented in WWF was not as good. But these two, fucking outstanding. They went on to wrestle for ECW for a long period of time. They're fucking brilliant tag team. So underrated and forgotten. People forget about LaFon and Furnas. Brilliant. Such a big fan over here. I was like, yes, I'm not watched a match for these two in ages.
They're great. I mean,
for me, match of the night.
Possibly. The finish gave me some pause on that, but we'll touch on that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But LaFon, Furnas, they're fresh off of their ECW run where they had some amazing matches with RVD and Sabu, which are great.
Yeah, man.
But
and obviously you've got, this is at the Owen Bulldog time where they're friends and family, but are they really? Because it's very much a one-upmanship. Like the entrance, I love this Owen Bulldog entrance in this time frame where Bulldog stood like that, but Owen comes underneath and he goes like that, and Bulldog comes underneath. Yeah, because it's very much I'm good and you're good, but I'm better. I'm better. No, I'm better. It's fucking brilliant. And obviously you've got, you had the Rumble where Bulldog and Owen, they had the little thing at the Rumble and he accidentally eliminated his teammate.
Yeah.
So they're very much are these two friends now.
Can they coexist?
Yeah, definitely can they coexist. Tag team dissension is what we love in our WWF.
We love it.
Never seen this before. Never seen it before. But yeah, to your point, Owen eliminated Bulldog by accident in the Royal Rumble. So there's been tension for a few weeks, even though they've held on to the titles. And within the match, there's a few points where there's some miscommunication, like Bulldog holds on to LaFon. Owen goes for the spinning heel kick on LaFon, but Phil ducks and so Owen hits Bulldog by accident. Then later in the match, Owen slaps Bulldog for like no reason. I think he's just doing, I don't know what he was doing.
I thought it was great after the spinning wheel kicks. Then Bulldog clotheslines Owen. Bulldog goes back outside. Furnace goes for the pin, and Bulldog's like, "I'm not losing the titles," so runs back in and fucking stops the pin. Right. It's like, I don't like you, but I like my belt. Thank you very much.
Right. And like the match is like I really enjoyed the match as well. There were some fun double team sequences from Furnace and LaFon. Like they're like, you know, back elbow, clothesline, DDT, leg drop, like those bam 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 moves.
When Furnace got the hot tag, he gets hot tag and he comes in, he goes suplex. It's like watching a young Kurt Angle.
I mean, the style of these guys was very
and the Hurricanrana that he snapped off straight away was fucking flawless.
Yeah,
like I said, this is like Furnace and LaFon for me. They were in the WWF for such a small period of time, but their matches were so good with a roster of guys that you struggle to have a good match with. Like if you take away Bulldog and Owen from the tag division, you've got the Godwins, you've got the Headbangers. I don't know that Body Donna's still a thing.
No,
do you know what I mean? You've got bad tag teams that are not like I wouldn't want to see Furnace and LaFon versus the Godwins. I would not in a million fucking years. But give me Furnace and LaFon versus Owen and Bulldog. Like obviously, Owen's leaps and miles better than Bulldog. Bulldog very much was limited.
Bulldog was great in this match, though. He was uncharacteristically good in this match.
Yes.
He had like a fire behind him. He was like doing head springs and running drop kicks, and like he was flying all over the place. So he must have had the right amount of IcoPro before this match.
Yes. He's one of them unfortunate ones. Is the Bulldog that he was, unless he was on the IcoPro, he wasn't looking so great. Like the Bulldog, but the problem is though, too much IcoPro, right, brings you Bulldog in '99,
right, or SummerSlam '92
when he's wrestling in his jeans, or SummerSlam '92 where he's full gimmick but doesn't have a clue where he is or what's going on.
Yes. Speaking of,
the brother-in-law's going to help me get through.
Right. Speaking of
do the whole match himself.
Speaking of not knowing what's going on, I take great umbrage to this ref in this match. I believe it's Jack Doan.
I know what's coming.
You know what's coming. So let's walk through this.
And the thing is, Jack Doan as well. I adore Jack Doan. He's like one of my favorite referees. In a time where you could name every single WWF referee, Jack Doan, along with Timmy White, were my two favorite referees. And this, what you're about to show, is fucking disappointing.
Fuck this guy. Fuck Jack Doan. He got paid off by British Bulldog Owen. I'm certain of it. Because let's walk through this. Okay, so Bulldog whips LaFon into the ropes. LaFon sunset flip. Okay, the ref's distracted. That's fine. That happens. But turns around. How did he not see him? How did he not see what is happening here?
And the fact that LaFon is pointing, saying, look.
But Furnace isn't doing anything. He's just on the apron. Like, why is Jack Doan running over to Furnace?
Furnace even.
Yeah, they're the same. It's fine. But
he's
for no reason.
Stop pointing.
And then now he finally sees it, makes it count.
2. Oh.
But then later in the match, so we got LaFon getting whipped into the ropes. Small package on the Owen. What the fuck is the ref doing? Let me rewind this. The ref saw the small package. Why is he looking to the side? For no reason. And then
Bulldog can do that.
And then he still doesn't see the small package. What are we doing?
Was Bulldog still in the ring?
He needs to get out of the ring. But then let's turn it back over again.
Now he sees it automatically, by the way. He starts counting before he even turns around. Look at this guy.
Jack Doan, if you look at Jack Doan, how he does his pinfall as well, it's very similar to Earl, where you know that he kind of gives it away when he's already up here. With how quick So like it'll go 1, 2, and with how quick that third arm comes around, it's like you can tell where he learned from. Everybody learned from Earl.
Yeah, drove me crazy, this fucking ref. But outside of that, fun match, I guess. Ultimately, the finish is a bit silly. We got Bulldog has LaFon up for a power slam. As Philip is on his shoulders, Owen from the outside hits Phil with his Slammy Award. And then Bulldog hits the power slam, has the match won, but the ref saw the Slammy shot, because apparently that he can see. So they get DQ'd, even though they had the match won. So it's like, why? So I guess the story here is that Bulldog's pissed because he could have won the match. But I don't know, we got a DQ finish on a pay-per-view, and still we got the Can-Am Connection still suffering a loss. Like, you could see that they lost. It was a visual loss. So I don't know. I think there could have been a better way at going about building this tension. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, if you think though, this tension's got legs in it. This goes on because obviously we build to the European title tournament.
Yes.
Obviously, we have the European title tournament final, which involves these two, and then it goes on. And during this time, they're still tag champions. Then obviously it goes on to the point, which is for me, and I still go back to this, one of the greatest segments of Monday Night Raw history of me growing up as a child, where you've got Bulldog and Owen fighting in the ring, and you've got Bret Hart comes out. He's still like anti-Owen at the time, and he's still anti-them. We've not seen these in a ring together for ages, and he pushes him, saying, "What the fuck's going on? See, these people, they've made you fall out, me fall out. We're brothers, we're family." And then the Hart Foundation come back, and oh my fucking God, cock in hand and everything.
Oh, all right. I agree though.
Stuff.
It's
good shit. Good shit.
Jack worthy for sure.
Good shit. But yeah, so that match, solid. Like, if you want to watch a tag match from the new generation era,
tag match.
I would recommend a tag match involving these four competitors. I really would. I'd recommend, Mike, to go and have a look at some Furnace and the Fun matches, like Carl said, from ECW. It's fucking outstanding. In an era where tag team wrestling isn't the focus on for any promotion, these guys, fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. Bravo. Mike, what did you think? Because you kind of came in cold to these guys. I mean, what are your thoughts on these two fellas?
I was impressed by him. Like, the match was a great tag match. One of the best matches on the card until the end.
Yeah.
I thought the end could have been done a lot better.
Right. Yeah, because it was a good match. The finish kind of soured me on it. That's probably why I wouldn't put this match of the night. But otherwise, I would like. As far as tag matches in the new generation era, I can't think of one. But Body Donnas versus Smoking Guns, fuck off with that.
That's what I mean. You've got the Godwins, or the let's go a little bit further back to like Heavenly Bodies and teams along them. Like you've got wrestlers. Like, look at the Body Donnas. So Body Donnas is a prime example. You've got Chris Candido, who was a phenomenal wrestler, and you've got Tom Pritchard, who is equally as good in his day. Right? But when the Body Donnas put together as a team, they weren't designed to be showcasing their wrestling moves. They were designed to be showcasing that these two were annoying little personal training cunts.
Right.
So because the gimmicks came before the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the Godwins, terrible wrestlers. But the gimmick was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? They're throwing the slop around and everything else.
Brilliant, he says.
The Godwins were fucking amazing. Give over. I'm older than both of you. I lived through this. Right. And then obviously you've got Smoking Guns, where Billy was definitely the better wrestler than Bart, but the Smoking Guns, it wasn't about how good the wrestling were. It was about guns and cowboy hats and jeans and mustaches. Do you know what I mean? So where Philip LaFon and Doug Furnace, they didn't have a gimmick.
Right.
Everybody at this time had gimmicks. They didn't. They were just, we're wrestlers. That's our gimmick. Where I think if Furnace and LaFon would have been around 15 years later, I feel like they've been multiple time tag team champions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Multiple.
If they'd have been around in our era.
Could you imagine a Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas team angle versus LaFon and Furnace?
I'd pay to see it. I'll allow it.
Eddie and Chavo, LaFon and Furnace.
Bashams, Furnace, LaFon. Come on. Let's get it going. The Bashmen. I'm all about it.
That'd be something else.
Two bell ends and shit shirts.
The two bell ends. Oh, La Resistance.
By the way, did you guys know that the Basham showed up in TNA?
Yeah.
What were they?
Basham, Damager.
Yeah, Damager and what did they call fucking Danny?
Basham.
Basham.
Basham and Damager. I just watched that show not too long ago.
Basham. Danny was Damager.
There you go. I get them mixed up being identical twin brothers.
One of them was doing like a cosplay of John Cena, and the other one was just it was very bad. It was still very bad. But Basham's aside, we got old Doc Hendricks with Taker backstage. So Undertaker's talking how he's rediscovered his edge, how he dominated the early 90s, beating Hulk Hogan and whatever, and he was rarely in the title scene. So Undertaker's here finally to kind of conquer the World Wrestling Federation. He's been fiddle fucking with Mankind and Executioner and the God knows who else.
Oh, the Executioner, Bam Bam Gordy. Fucking hell.
He's gone. He's out of here. They tried, but Undertaker's here. Like I said, rarely in the title scene. I think his trajectory in his career was really, I mean, he was always the character. He was always, he didn't need a title. Obviously, we're getting to a period where he wins the title and he's probably pretty much involved for most of 97. But I don't know. Do you guys think he should have been more in the title scene, or do you think it was kind of right how it?
No,
that's what the problem was with the Fiend.
Because the problem is when you've got a guy like the Undertaker, and he eventually wins especially the Undertaker where he's dead.
How do you take the title off him?
How do you take the title off a guy that can't feel pain?
It's very true.
So it's always. I think the thing is though I think that's just wrestling in it. Like a guy is better when he's chasing something. When he finally gets it, he's like
you want him to lose it.
Cody fucking Rhodes, ladies and gentlemen. When he was chasing the world title, my God, did I used to watch SmackDown every fucking day or Raw, and when he went whoa, I went whoa. Right, I was well behind. I'm not wowing anymore.
Not even a little
to be fair. Yeah, well, I was watching SmackDown. I was watching SmackDown the other week, and Roman Reigns come out, and I put my finger in there, and my missus, she went, "What are you doing?" So it's just, but yeah, I used to woe with Cody, and now I'm like, ugh. He comes out every week. What do you want to talk about?
He's just curious. He wants to talk with his fans.
I loved Cody when he was chasing something, is he ever going to do it? Now he's finished his story, not bothered.
The story never ends, guys. The story never ends. You see? You're allergic to stories. Maybe.
I'm allergic to Cody Rhodes and his bullshit. I can't wait for him to lose the title.
How dare you?
And then maybe go a bit darker, go a bit healer, and chase after it again.
Put a mask on his face again, maybe? Yeah. Undashing?
Well, undashing Cody Rhodes.
Let's get it.
But yeah, going back to what you said about with The Undertaker, I think he definitely didn't need a title for that reason. Whether it was world title, tag titles, IC title. Because, like Mike said with The Fiend, you've got a guy who's unstoppable. There's nobody that can possibly beat this guy because he doesn't feel pain. But then when he has the title, he can't hold the title forever. He has to lose eventually.
That's why Kane winning the title in 98 was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Even though you only held it for a day.
I think what helped Taker with his character sort of trajectory as it went on over time, they humanized him a lot more. And when you humanize the gimmick, like when he came back at WrestleMania 20, it was The Undertaker, it was the music, it was the clothes, it was the character, it was the name and everything else. But he wasn't the dead man of the early 90s that used to put his opponents inside body bags. Do you know what I mean? Like the dead man.
He was more of a dead man.
Yeah, he was more of a dead man. Yeah.
Right. I enjoyed Biker Taker for what it was, at least like the last few years. I think it took him a while to kind of figure it out. Once he turned heel, like 2002-ish, I think that run on was good. And I think it was a good break, in the scale of his entire career. It was a good break from the dead man thing because he would eventually go back to it. And I think it still had success after. So I don't think it hurt it. So
I think we're in that sort of period now where you can see why in the space of like 18 months, the Ministry of Darkness becomes a thing.
Right.
So I feel like if Undertaker, the face character Undertaker, would have been carried on, would it have got to a point where people would have got bored with the gimmick? Because there's only so much you can get out of a certain element of a gimmick, and there's only so many times, like I said, you can throw the executioner at him and people like that.
Right.
And if you look like up to from Mania 0 to now of all Undertaker's appearances, now as in 1997, a lot of his appearances, his opponents were fucking terrible. It's like, dude, a lot of times they looked at the Undertaker and thought, we have no idea what to do with this guy. No idea. So we'll just put him against somebody that he can beat.
Right.
Because they were like, I struggle, apart from Mankind and the Hogan storyline of the early 90s, I struggle to tell you, apart from Kane and the Ministry, up to before then, I struggle to tell you a storyline with Undertaker.
Jake?
I mean, that's his early stuff. Early stuff.
They had.
Obviously, it was a bit part player in the Michaels. See, I think he was a bit part player in the Michaels and Brett feud, and then he was a massive part player in the introduction of his brother.
Yeah.
But the feud itself with him and Michaels, like obviously that started DX, because you had an episode of Raw where it was Taker and Mankind versus Austin, Michaels and Triple H when they were teamed together for the first time. And then you had a 2-on-1 and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, up to like maybe going 1-on-1 with The Undertaker on SmackDown. And then, like I say, if you get rid of the Ministry and his return as the biker and stuff, this Undertaker, for a guy that had a 30-plus year career, he lived off that career on like 2 storylines.
Right. It's
his
like
Mankind stuff and his Kane stuff.
In the early 2000s, he was like a utility guy. Like he was teaming with Kane for like all of 2001.
Teaming with the Big Show, fighting against X-Pac.
He's kind of like a background guy in like the early Smack, like 2002, 2003. Like he was in title matches, but he would like kind of come and go. Like he wasn't really like a stark portion of that world title scene. But at this point,
you're gonna have to carry on talking Taker for a minute because I need the toilet.
Yeah, you're fine. But at this point, we are, Taker, since I've been recapping these shows from like WrestleMania 10 and on, it's been, Taker had that feud with Yokozuna, where Yoko, they all the heels put him in the casket, and then Taker got risen to the heavens. And then you have the whole thing with the $1 Million Corporation, which was shit. You had like matches with King Kong Bundy and Kama. Some of the Kama matches were okay, but just like another casket match type of deal. And then the feud with Mankind finally gave him something good to do. And they've kind of milked what they could out of that. But Undertaker's here. All that title talk aside, he's here fighting for the WWF title. In the main event, we got the Final 4 Battle Royal for the vacant WWF title. We got Undertaker versus Vader versus Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
So you can win by pinfall, submission, or throwing him over the top rope.
Correct.
Why? Why all 3?
Yes, let's get on to this, the rules of this gimmick match.
You guys didn't like it?
So, it's a fatal 4-way elimination. Now, I love, in any multiple man match, I feel like if you don't have an elimination and it makes it one fall to the finish, not a fan. Never been a fan.
Elimination.
Like even back on the old SmackDown games, if there was a way of changing it where it's a multi-man match and it's elimination, I love it because you've got so many different elements that you can throw into this. Because if you've got a couple of faces and a couple of heels, the face is always going to go first. So you can have 2 heels against the face. And then you've got that dynamic of the face coming back. Love it. Absolutely love it. Throw in the fact that it's no disqualification. Love it as well. Pinfall submissions, of course. But throwing somebody over the top rope. Now, I have a big issue with this. It's like a cage match that went on, like the cage matches when I was a kid. There was 2 ways to win. Over the top, through the door. Right. And then they started to add, you can pin. Well, what's the fucking point of having the door? Well, and it's the same concept to this. It's supposed to be the final 4 from the Royal Rumble. So this should pick up where the Royal Rumble stops. Right. So the only way to eliminate somebody in this match should be over the top rope. No pins, no submissions, over the top rope. We can still have it no DQ, but over the top rope is the only way.
Interesting.
Because it's supposed to be a hang-off from what was the Rumble. and all this controversy because of the Rumble. But like in the Rumble, you don't have over the top rope and a pin or submission.
Right. Well,
and the worst thing was this match went on for like 45 days and fuck all happened until like the last 5 minutes.
Well, hold on. Here. Let me play devil's advocate for a bit. Because I agree about it should have been like an extension of the Royal Rumble. And if you're going to have over the top rope, make that just be the only thing, which I believe, I could be wrong. Didn't everybody get eliminated by getting thrown over the top rope?
Yes.
So you could have just had.
Yes.
So we can just pretend that that's the rule, right? We can just pretend. That's our head canon. That's fine. That's fine. But I should also mention that I feel like at this point in time, you didn't see a lot of fatal four-ways. Like, I don't even think they had generated the term fatal four-way. This might have been the first.
This was the first, yeah. Because we had the first triple threat round about this time frame.
Right.
I'm sure this is the first fatal four-way. If not the first fatal four-way, it's definitely the first fatal four-way that's an elimination match.
Right. At least on this stage, like main event of a pay-per-view, for sure, the first. And it's interesting because I've been watching like WCW and they've done a few like triple threats. And it's interesting to watch wrestlers try to figure out how to structure this match when the whole concept is so new to it. Like the early triple threats in WCW were terrible. Like nobody knew what was going on. Legal person, what's that? I don't know. So here, this fatal four-way, again, it's like a new venture for them as far as like the match type. And the match is very chaotic. It's very like rough around the edges, but part of me likes that. Like it feels like there's like a layer of like believability to it. Like it's just a brawl between four guys that hate each other. There was a big portion of this match where it's like, okay, nothing's really happening. But all in all, I enjoyed the kind of unpredictable nature of this match, like the Vader getting busted open, just gushing blood.
Yeah.
That was a good old cut. That was.
The mask rubbing against that cut must have.
He eventually took the mask off because I imagine it was waterboarding him with his own blood.
Rubbing, yeah, just rubbing in the blood, and it must have been fucking horrid.
So there's some good brutality, and I will say though, one problem I had. So the bell, like right in the beginning, so we've established that you can eliminate people by going over the top rope. Right away, Undertaker goes for a fucking old school.
Just push him.
Like, hey, let me help you.
Push him.
What the fuck?
See, that's the problem. I feel like because they made like you wouldn't very rarely see something like that in the Rumble match because there'd be that concern that the only way, do you know what I mean, is me to be pushed over. But I feel like if they emphasize the rules of this more on the only way to be eliminated is to be eliminated like it is in the Rumble, I feel like it make moves like that, you have to switch it up and think about it a little bit.
Don't do that move.
Yeah, because it adds logic in. And when you're watching it thinking, well, someone's definitely going to get eliminated by pin because my man's popping out fucking old school.
Right. So there's some psychology plot holes in this one, to say the least. But again, it's a brawl. Chairs get like it's no DQ, so chairs get brought into play or like right away.
Cross.
These get kicked.
Yeah, I mean, Vader goes to hit Taker. Taker gets the boots up, knocks a chair into Vader's face, and busts him open, like right around the eye area of Vader. So he's the whole visual of Vader with the whole bloody face and the mask was crazy. They take turns pairing off with each other. We at first we get Brett and Austin, Vader and Taker, then it kind of switches throughout the match. Also, it's funny. So Stone Cold goes for the stunner onto Undertaker, but it's very clear that Undertaker has never taken a stunner before at this point. So he takes it like a neck breaker. He does a back bump instead of dropping to his knees. So people are still figuring things out at this point, but ultimately,
what did you make to Brett's pile driver on Austin? It was a thing of absolute beauty.
Brett has one of the best pile drivers of all time,
doesn't he? Just? I mean, it's fucking beautiful.
All intent.
Love a Brett pile driver.
Brett and Lawler. Two of the best pile drivers.
Yeah. I think if they did a flip, though, I think it'd be pretty cool. Right? Who's with me?
In 97, yeah.
Maybe on the apron, and then they get up and just do another one right away, maybe.
Hardest part of the ring.
Yeah, come on now. That's branding. That's branding.
I loved how everybody, once we're going back to when Vader started bleeding, everyone thought, you know, the best thing to do to Vader when he's bleeding is punch him in his eye, punch him in his head, right where he's fucking hurting. Vader must be going, I'm a fat piece of shit, but you're a fucking knobhead. Give over. Put me in a headlock. Stop punching me cut.
Is this before or after Vader's eye popped out of his socket in a match in Japan?
After many years after.
Right, I thought so, yeah. So maybe that's just where his vulnerability is.
Stan Hansen? I think it was Stan Hansen he was fighting against.
Yeah.
So it was back in like the 80s, yeah. But yeah, it was brutal, absolutely brutal. Like I said, it baffled me how the match, because what did the match go on for in total? It was like half an hour?
It had to be.
The first elimination was like 18 minutes. I feel like
it took a while.
For a fatal 4-way elimination, it took a hell of a long time. Like everyone was kind of getting the
especially
spots
when they
in.
were all over the top.
Yeah, like Austin at one point, it was running rampant. Like the Ruthless press was coming out like Carl said when he went to do the stunner onto Taker. But I just feel like it took so long to get to that first elimination, and then within 4 or 5 minutes, the match was over.
Yeah. Right.
But I feel like we could have had an early elimination of a face. And then had the two heels on one face break down for 15 minutes. And then the face then throws one heel away. And then it goes down to the final two. Then obviously the face wins.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like in order to do it that way, you'd probably have to have Stone Cold Steve Austin lose first. He'd be the first one eliminated.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you maybe have... what's Brett right now? Is Brett still a good guy?
It's kind of a blurry. He's mainly a good guy. I would say it's like 70-30.
So let's say we have Taker eliminated early doors, and then we have Vader and they're on the beatdown onto Brett. Brett being the face that can't take it. And everything. So you got Austin and Vader beating down on Brett. Then maybe he eliminates Vader, and then we're down to Austin and Brett. I don't know. I just feel like you could have, instead of just doing how they did it, because how they did it was 20 minutes of just everyone beating up each other and with blood and some very good moves and strong, powerful moves. And then you literally had, like I said, in the last 5 minutes, it's out you go, I'm champion. Especially the final elimination was shit, so shit to crown a new world champion.
So, to your point, so the whole match was 24 minutes. 5 seconds.
Wow.
The first elimination came at 18 minutes and 9 seconds.
18 minutes. There you go.
The next one,
5 minutes, 6 minutes.
The next one was 23 minutes, 33 seconds. And then the next one was like a minute later. So yeah, to your point, it was pretty much all 4 guys involved in most of this match. And then it was just boom, boom, boom eliminations for the most part. I didn't mind how they went about it. So like I said, everybody's there's at any given point, there's at least one pair fighting on the outside, maybe in the crowd, in the aisleway. Up against the steps.
Every other fatal 4-way.
Right. So it's just like 2 pairs of singles matches happening at any given time, which is like nowadays it'd be like 2 guys knocked out and then 2 guys fighting in the ring. So they're still kind of like fine tuning how this like 4-way works. But I agree. A lot of this is kind of like a mindless brawl. At one point,
just nothing. Just punching
2
each
guys
other.
fighting on the outside, 2 guys fighting on the inside, rather than 2 guys fighting on the inside. 2 guys just having a chill.
I think that's what WWE went in to do, though, didn't they? Like, WWE got to a point where a fatal 4-way or a triple threat was so tirelessly to watch because you had literally that formula. You had, I'm going to give a move on you that in a normal one-on-one, you would sell for 10 seconds. But in this match, you are going to sell that for 2 minutes so that we can get our shit in. And then we're going to sell our shit for 2 minutes so you can get your shit in. And there's just no fluidity within the match. Like the match, the fact that these matches aren't real and they're scripted, the fact that they can't script it in a way where everyone's involved, and if you're down for a reason. You're not just down because we need them two to do a move and I'll be back in 30 seconds like no's happened to me.
Yeah, I think in modern times.
Yeah, definitely.
They've kind of figured
I feel like
out.
this match didn't have that. This match they did have, like I said, because you had 2 good guys, 2 bad guys. So sort of 2 sets of guys that were in feuds together, and everybody had a reason to be in this match. Mm-hmm. And obviously because of the Rumble as well, even more everybody had a reason to be in this match.
Right.
I just feel like we wasted so much time. This whole pay-per-view We wasted so much time. If you think the opening contest and the final contest combined was nearly like an hour.
Right. Yeah, and it's like,
you know what I mean?
The show was just paced so weird overall because there were jobber entrances all over the place. Like Triple H got a jobber entrance, Leif Cassidy got it, but it's like they were in a rush. Like, for what reason? Like, what do you got to get to? Like, you have time.
Exactly.
I don't know. But this match is going on here. And like I said, around the 18-minute mark, Bret eliminates Stone Cold over the top rope, kind of just out of nowhere. You know, it just didn't feel like there's a lot of build to it. It's just like, oh, he's gone. But I will say the crowd was super into it. Like, on these eliminations, the crowd was into this stuff, especially in the finishing stretch, like the last 6 minutes or so. So what they were doing worked to some extent. So Austin's out of there. At this point, Vader finally takes his fucking mask off because he can't see or breathe, I would assume. Paul Bearer on the outside.
Definitely both.
Undertaker's on the outside. Paul Bearer hits him with the urn because they're still feuding, I guess. Bret Hart, the crazy superplex onto Vader when he could have just pushed him over the top rope, but I digress.
Of course.
But
why would you do such a simple thing like that, though?
Insane. But Austin's still here. He's back. He wants Bret Hart's ass.
What?
He beats up Bret Hart on the outside.
What? No Rumble, what? Vader, what? Blood, what?
He takes umbrage to Mr. Bret Hart. In the ring, Vader goes for the Vader bomb onto Undertaker, but Undertaker sits up and hits him with a huge uppercut right to the asshole of Vader, and knocks Vader over the top rope from this asshole punch. Eliminated Vader, and the crowd explodes. So Vader's out of here. Austin's out of here, technically. So now we're just down to Undertaker versus Bret Hart. And Austin's still here. He's still trying to crawl in the ring. He's still trying to get at Bret. He even tries to pull Bret over the top rope like Hogan did to fucking Sid back in the day. Undertaker goes for the tombstone onto Bret, but he's distracted by Stone Cold. This allows Bret to roll up Undertaker because you can still win by pinfall. So there's a close 2 count. So there's some good drama here towards the end. It was a close call. But Austin's still fucking here. He's still distracting both guys. He distracts Undertaker to the extent where Bret is able to clothesline Undertaker over the top rope and become the new WWF champion. So every elimination.
Correct decision.
Sure. But definitely I was going into this. I thought Taker was going to win because
he does. He does in a month because this is where it all gets fucked up. So, are you aware what happens after this? So tomorrow night,
no.
Sid beats Bret. Bret's a champion for a day, and then at Mania, because Taker, I can't remember exactly why he got put into the main event.
Let me tell you why. There's no reason. No,
there is. No. There actually is. And I can't for life of me remember. It's something, I think it was Taker, something with a Rumble, or where was Taker, what position was Taker eliminated in the Rumble?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think he was the last one eliminated.
I think it was one of the last ones. But I feel like there's a reason. Either something happens somewhere between this event, the Raw where Sid beats Bret, and something else. I'm Googling it right now. Why the fuck did Undertaker wrestle at Mania 13?
So I watched this Raw after the fact, and they already announced that Undertaker would wrestle the winner of Sid and Bret. So they had already established that the night.
But there was a reason why. I can't remember the reason why.
Because it was the last one eliminated?
No, because the last one eliminated was Bret when Austin threw him out.
No, in the match we've just done.
That could be the reason.
Oh, perhaps.
That could be the reason.
Perhaps.
He was the last one eliminated.
Is it like Undertaker was he was cost the match by Austin, maybe? It was under dubious means. So it's like, let's give him a consolation prize and have him fight at Mania, maybe? I don't know. But that's where we're at. Bret is the new champion. We'll go on to face Sid tomorrow night on Raw, and we'll end up losing to Sid on Raw. Spoiler alert.
Sid was owed a title match from Michaels losing his smile. So obviously they fought a Survivor Series. And obviously, they were spotting. Well, look at the fucking poster for the pay-per-view. Sid and Michaels were supposed to be having a match.
What?
In the Final Four with Bret and Austin.
It's so silly, man. But yeah, I feel like with these 4 people plus Sid, you could have moved these pieces in any way possible. And I'm still not convinced they knew what they were doing at this point in time on this pay-per-view. So obviously we would end up getting what we would get. We got Bret and Austin out of it, so no complaints really there. But overall, I didn't mind the match. I thought it could have used a little more... there could have been a little bit more focus in it. Like I said, a lot of it was very mindless, but I do appreciate the grittiness of it. You know, the bloodiness.
Sir!
Yes, sir?
Something's just come to me, sir.
Oh, we got breaking news.
While I was trying to look at... While I was just looking to work out why exactly The Undertaker was put into the main event at WrestleMania 13, something just come to me. The Final Four at the Rumble didn't include Vader.
Yeah, it wasn't fake Razor in the final, or fake.
It was
Kane,
fake. It was fake Diesel.
Fake Diesel, yes.
Fake Diesel was in the Final Four. It's just come to me now, and I'm thinking about the reasons behind.
I don't even think Vader was in the Rumble because he fought Undertaker on that show.
Yeah, but he was in the Rumble, and because wasn't the something about there was a stipulation in their match? Was Vader number 1? Oh no, because number 1. I don't know.
Royal Rumble 1997.
I feel like this episode has just created more questions than answers.
I mean,
we're going to come out of this so more confused.
So let's see. Where was Vader at? Vader came out at number 20. Wait. He comes out at number 26. He's eliminated 28. So he is.
No. So Vader was eliminated by Austin.
Wait, sorry. I'm looking at...
97,
yeah. What were you saying?
So after Austin got eliminated and Austin came back in, he then eliminated Vader. So Vader got eliminated unfairly, where fake Diesel was eliminated by Bret, who was still illegally allowed to be part of the Rumble.
Oh, I'm sorry. Vader came out at number... Wait, what? He comes out at number 28 and is number 26 in terms of eliminations. So I guess technically not... I don't know. Yeah, Undertaker, fake Diesel. Yep, you're right. Yeah, so I don't know. We're here now. I don't know if it matters. I mean, it does.
I blame Thursday, Raw Thursday.
Yeah, it's all Thursday. The Thursday thing just shuffled the deck too much, and it's
just fucked up. Well, Thursday, Raw Thursday, Shawn Michaels losing his smile.
It really is all Shawn's fault at the end of the day. But
I'm still googling why Undertaker was deserved a title match at WrestleMania. He didn't win fucking anything.
I don't think there was a reason, man.
According to Wikipedia, due to being the runner-up to the title at Final Four, Undertaker was made number 1 contender and was booked to challenge Psycho Sid for the title at Mania. But I'm sorry, doesn't Bret be entitled to a rematch?
What?
Oh yes, Austin wants him. Austin wants his ass.
What?
The personal vendetta.
Forget, Ken Shamrock comes in a minute.
Who could forget?
Yes, the referee.
I fucking adored Ken Shamrock. Like, if you want to go back to a guy who was definitely 10 years ahead of where he should be in the wrestling circuit.
If he'd have debuted about 5 years later.
Could you, like when everyone raves about the SmackDown 6 and stuff like that, yeah? Could you imagine if Ken Shamrock in his peak was part of that? Shamrock Benoit, Shamrock Guerrero, Shamrock Angle, Shamrock Jericho.
Shamrock Heidenreich.
Shamrock fucking Road Warrior Animal. Shamrock in a 2-on-1 against the Dicks.
Ooh, 2 dicks, 1
Twist
Shamrock?
that dick!
Yeah.
No, dick twist.
I'm sold on it. You sold me on it. I guess we can still make that happen, right? That's still a thing.
He's still wrestling at this time,
he was wrestling in TNA not that long ago, so he's still around. He's still in shape.
Well, he's just signed a Legends deal with WWE.
He's in the game, the most recent game. So
was it?
So could he be in the Rumble? I tell you who's going to be in the Rumble. I'm telling you now, Maven will be in the Rumble.
If only
Maven
Undertaker
is
still
going to be
around.
in 2025 Rumble.
They should bring Undertaker back just so Maven can eliminate him again.
Eliminate. He does the dropkick, and this time Undertaker doesn't sell it. They did
that. They did that in 2003, right? Because he eliminated him in 02 and 03. They did the spot again. And what you just laid out happened.
With the no sell. Yeah, but I can see because Maven is so much on the circuit at the minute on YouTube. Same as Stevie Richards. But the problem is Maven is not trying to throw everybody under the bus. Where Stevie Richards says, "Let me zoom in on my telly and show you how Nia Jax kills people."
Oh, Steve. Big Stevie Cool. You gotta love him.
And then we've got Val Venus, who's still trying to sell you drugs on Facebook.
Well, that's a whole
and
thing.
Convince you that the earth is on a teaspoon.
That's that.
Whatever
Val
he tries
Venus.
to convince.
One too many chair shots from all Valster. Or to
Uncle
all
Val.
Valster.
Here's to Uncle Val.
Good old Uncle Val. You won't trust him with your kids.
Well, speaking of Maven, if you had to grade the show, the fact that they dub over that on Peacock drives me crazy.
I know.
It's only. You quickly realize that that's the only thing that's the only reason people gave a shit about him.
Yeah. And his dropkick.
You have to grade the
Nothing
show.
you can say. I thought we were doing theme tunes.
No. Grade the show from 0 Mavens to 100 Mavens. What are you throwing at it?
34.
Oh.
I'm going to go 3.
Whoa. 3 Mavens out of 100. Wow. That's pretty brutal.
I'll give it a 34. I'll give it a
34.
Before Icy Tat was shy.
It had blood. The thing is, right, it wasn't a pay-per-view full of shite, right? There was a lot of shite, as in Bart Gunn and Flash Funk and all that, Leaf Cassidy, but we also had a main event that included Bret Hart and The Undertaker, right? Granted, obviously, with Vader and Stone. Yeah, but Stone Cold for me is Stone Cold mid-card right now. He's not Stone Cold, right? But Undertaker and Bret are up here, right? Austin's here, Vader's here. Yeah,
because he's a fat piece of shit.
because he's a fat piece of shit. But you had that. You also had tag team excellency in Bulldog and Owen versus LaFon and Furnace. You had the future of the WWE battling out for the IC title in Rocky Maivia and Triple H. So now, it's all about how it's presented to you. You could word this pay-per-view to a stranger and say it kicks off with Mark Merrow and Leif Cassidy. In the middle, we've got Bart Gunn and Goldust and fucking Flash Funk going up against the Nation. And do you know what I mean? So you can kind of present it, but if you gloss over that, like you've got some major players in the new gen / Attitude Era, this sort of crossover period we're in right now. And obviously Michaels is not there and Sid's not there. But even though Sid was on the show, technically backstage watching a telly. But you had a lot of the major guys involved, obviously, within the main match. But so it wasn't the worst pay-per-view ever. It's nowhere near the best. Nowhere near the best.
No.
That's why I said it was probably just below average. Just below average, so 34 out of 100. Justify your 3.
I was on about if I go in not knowing what the match card's going to be, and the first match, Wildman versus Leif Cassidy, I won't even get to the finish.
Well, look, that match could have been good. Like 2 talented guys. It just wasn't.
That's the problem, though. They've got a lot of talent on the roster at this period of time. But going back to what I said earlier about the tag team division, do you know what I mean? Like, Chris Candido was a single star in WWE during this time. Could have been phenomenal, right? But he wasn't. He was just booked as you're a fitness instructor.
Yeah.
So they're not. I don't care how good wrestling you are. Have 2 moves, potentially 3, that nobody else does. They've all got names, and we're just going to build around them. You can punch, you can kick, you can clothesline, you can suplex. And that's it. But then I want to see your spine buster. I want to see your power driver. I want to see your 2-3 moves that you can do. Where jump in the time machine and go forward 10 years, 15 years, you'll have a guy like Kurt Angle who's got 30 moves in his arsenal apart from his 2-3 top moves. Because we cared and we gave a fuck about wrestlers wrestling, which baffles me because if you look back at the times on this card, it was like they gave a fuck about the wrestlers wrestling.
Right.
But they really didn't.
Yeah. I mean, you got Philip LaFon, Doug Furnace doing cool stuff. Like, the tag team match is probably the best representation of, like, good wrestling. I mean, Rock and Ace was good.
Definitely.
Rock and Hunter was good, but I don't know. I'd throw
I think you had a lot of storyline. It was a typical B show pay-per-view where the match results aren't really the most important bits. It's the shenanigans and everything around it. Like, obviously, Rocky Maivia, he retained against Hunter, but that's now going forward. It's Goldust and Marlena versus Triple H and Chyna. It's the main event. It's Austin interfered, allowed Bret to win, and so everything kind of a dusty, dirty finish because it's not the be-all and end-all at a pay-per-view like Final Four, because the be-all and end-all is next month at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's just very much an extended version of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it's just here to be the last pivot point to WrestleMania. And I think for that purpose, I think it served it decently.
Absolutely. It was a good pay-per-view. It wasn't the greatest, but it was unoffensive.
Sure.
I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Is unoffensive pay-per-view. It had giggles, it had laughs, it had jokes, it had serious, it had blood, it had patheticness. It kind of everything that this timescale in WWE offered. Hence why currently I still think we're in that period where WCW are annihilating the WWE every single week in the ratings. Annihilating them.
Yeah.
Because it's WWE TV isn't great to watch. Because your top guys, your Michaels, your Austin, eventually Austin, your Brett, your Sid, your Taker, people are invested in these giants of the 80s and the new gen stars of the early 90s. But then you're throwing your Leaf Cassidys and your Bart Guns and your Gold Dusts.
Yeah,
does it have that mix of eclectic wrestlers that it goes on to have, where you can be invested in the Brood, 3 vampires that used to spit blood and shit, and do you know what I mean? And Steve Blackman with his fucking sticks and that. Do you know what I mean?
His sticks.
The characters, even though the characters in the butt end of the New Gen and early Attitude Era, even though they had the gimmicks were too cartoony still. Flash Funk is too cartoony for this new era of wrestling that we're going into.
Right.
So you can understand why people are going over to WCW, because they want to watch a wrestler with his real name, dress in street clothes and tell someone he's a cunt. They don't want to see Flash Funk dancing with 2 black lasses, where everybody in the world knows that used to be 2 Cold Scorpio who were kicked arse in ECW.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We want to see that. And I think that's the period now. We're not in that. 2 Cold Scorpio in 1993 or 1994 would have been fucking amazing. Amazing. 2 Cold Scorpio as Flash Funk in 1997-98, it's 5 years too late.
Yeah, I think because at this point, WCW is still a little cartoony. I mean, we got Hogan and Roddy for the main event going on right now. There's silly like Roadblock, and you still got the Dungeon of Doom running around. So there still is a bit of that cartoony, but I think, the NWO is still around. I think it's already almost like jumped the shark at this point, but we're definitely in the what is it, like late 98, early 99 when it becomes the proper split where everyone that's cool is in the Wolfpack and everyone that's Stevie Ray and Horace Hogan are in the black and white. Like it gets really bad. Really, like at one point the NWO black and white are solely on Thunder, and you've got like Crush, Virgil, Horace Hogan. It's fucking terrible. I mean, but yeah, you've got the Wolfpack. I think that's a bit after the Finger Poke of Doom and stuff like that. And yeah, well, I think that wasn't it the culmination of the Wolfpack? I don't know.
Because that was the split, and then they got back together, and then the NWO became the NWO and the NWO B team. And it was like, I think the B team was your Stevie Rays of the world and your Virgils and your Big Boss Man, but he wasn't Big Boss Man.
Bubba,
people like that.
Big Bubba?
Big Bubba.
Yeah. He's around here at this point too, early 97.
Well, if you think as well that with the NWO, that keeps running though to like the end of 99, 2000, when we get the new version with Jeff Jarrett and Bret Hart and Scott Steiner, the NWO 2000. And it's like they literally flogged a dead horse for years and years and years after its initial like good year. But you can still see though why people are still more invested in WCW, because going back to me, so in what like I said, I would have been 11, 12, that sort of era. I still lived off me Hogans, me Savages, me 80s, early 90s stars. So if I'm offered an opportunity to watch Hogan versus Savage or Brett versus Sid, I know which way I'm going.
Right.
And I'm going to Hogan, brother.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, this is the point where WCW is beating WWF, but I think they would figure it out eventually. And ECW's still around. ECW's still got some good stuff cooking right now at this point too. Chris Candido, you brought him up earlier. That's where he's at.
This is the ECW now, which is prime ECW, because not one of them are in WWF yet.
Yeah.
What killed ECW was not the fucking not getting a two things, and the both of them ironically involved the company that funded them for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Because WWF taking ECW's spot on TNN was massive to the longevity of ECW, and WWF taking every single guy that was a top tier guy in ECW.
Right.
Taz, Dudley's, we'll have them. Rob Van Dam, give him in. I know obviously Van Dam kept going back, but I thought was it the 97, the original ECW invasion, I thought Ron Van Dam then potentially would have stayed.
So that's actually 2 weeks after this show is when we get that invasion.
Oh,
so
okay.
We're right
Look
there.
at me.
Look at you.
Look at me. But yeah, you have like 99% of the young guys, the cruiserweights, they all go to WCW, and like they're in a year. Like if you look at how ECW is now and how ECW is a year before their demise, the roster whole flipped completely because everyone's gone.
Right.
And now we're trying to make superstars out of the fucking Lance Storms of the world and Just Incredibles of the world. And do you know what I mean? When you've got your last two big champions in ECW was Rhino and Just Incredible, that's when you know things were fucking dying.
It was Aldo Montoya holding that torch for your
the
company.
Portuguese man of war.
Oh boy, who could forget him? Who could forget him? That's he's a pretty
me.
Yeah, guys. That's a pretty ruthless take of yours. But speaking of ruthless, if you guys
seg to the fucking way,
if you like the Ruthless Aggression Era, well, I suggest you go check out these two blokes right here. Appreciate you guys coming on once again. Talk some old wrestling. Where can everybody find you guys, your beautiful faces, and tiddle your nipples and do what else?
This is why I love talking New Gen Era, because when we do Ruthless Aggression, and the kind of the script is flipped a little bit because Mike was prime in the Ruthless Aggression, and we're in an era now where I definitely dipped in and out. Dipped in and out for years and years. I don't think I truly come back to WWE full time till like the summer of Punk, I'd probably say. I'd say from 2005 to 2010, I'm aware of everything that goes off, but I was definitely not a weekly avid make sure I watch. No way at all. No way at all. Where New Generation, I remember so much because that was a time before alcohol and drugs. Right. I remember so much. Where, like I said, the Ruthless Aggression Era, I'm like, I don't remember this happening at all. But yet Mike's got such a vivid memory of it, where we flip it because obviously I'm a bit older than Mike, so New Generation, I was prime, Mike was still a very baby.
Right.
So like,
it's surprising that he's a lot older.
I grew up surprisingly. I am, even though I don't look it, I am incredibly older than Mike. I'm hands up. Who's touching 40 soon?
No, I just turned 30, so I'm 31.
You just turned 30. Jeez, I'm 39 years old.
Midway,
and he's 30. What are you
35?
35.
We're just a couple guys in our 30s, all of us, right? It's all the same.
Exactly. I've literally got about 200 days left.
Hey, that's something.
But like I said, that's why I adore talking New Gen, because my mind is so much more strong when it comes to anything. Like you asked me what I had for breakfast today, and I have to think about it. But I could probably tell you the first 10 entrants of the 1993 Royal Rumble. Oh,
you still got Shinobi right on the top of the brain. So
that's it.
Who were they?
What, the first 10 entrants of Royal Rumble 93?
Yep.
I don't think I could do it. Hang on.
You just said you could.
Hold on.
Steiner.
Hold on. 93.
Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
Toast.
Beans and toast. Oi. I get it. British.
Hey, no beans and toast, mate.
You Yankee prick. Pipe down.
All right. The first 10 of 93. What we got?
Oh, right. I don't know if I can do it in order.
That's fine.
Right. I'd say one of the Beverly Brothers.
No.
Bob Backlund was number 3.
He was number 2.
Ooh.
So, but he's in there.
Ric Flair was in the first 10.
Ric Flair was number 1.
Yeah. Skinner
was 11. So you just missed that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jerry Lawler.
Yep. Number 7.
Virgil.
Yep. Number 6.
Go on. Rick Martel.
Nope.
Bastard. Scott Steiner?
Nope.
No, we're too early for the Steiner brothers.
I don't think he's in
WrestleMania
there.
9 was there like, yeah, we're too early for the Steiners. Let's think, 93. No, I think he was later. Carlito's daddy, but I think he come into the Rumble a bit later on. Macho Man? No, he was later as well. He was a lot later.
Carlos Colon was in there, but he was number 24.
Yeah, I would say it was a lot later. Oh,
later in the
Trying to think of anyone off the top of my head that really... Greg the Hammer Valentine?
Nope.
Nah, I'm done. Come on, read me.
We got
4.
I'll be here all day.
4. We got Papa Shango. Number 3.
Oh, fucking hell, yes.
Number 4, Ted DiBiase.
Yes.
Number 5, Brian Knobs.
Yes.
Number you got Virgil, right? Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
Number 8, Max Moon.
Oh, of course, Conan.
Number 9, Genichiro Tenryu.
Oh, Tenryu, yes.
Number 10, Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
93 Rumble was class. 93
Something
Rumble
like
had
that.
everything. And then you had Great Khali's dad debuting. And you had Randy Savage trying to make a pin.
Who's Great Khali's dad?
Giant Gonzalez.
Is Giant Gonzalez in here? Silly question.
Yeah,
I don't think he's in there.
Undertaker.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Undertaker was just eliminated Red Rooster. Right? And Undertaker was in the ring on his own. Nobody around. Dominating. I think he'd thrown IRS out, Red Rooster out, a couple of others. Next thing you know, Abby Wimpleman brings, and the camera angle was exactly how he did Great Khali. We'll film it from his feet upwards.
Right.
So it makes him look like he's 1,000 feet tall. Fucking brilliant.
Gotta love it. 93.
Class.
93 gave us everything.
Yes.
It gave the world me. It's where I debuted in the world. And Yokozuna winning. So that's all you need. But hey, if you want more Giant Gonzalez talk from the Ruthless Aggression Era, where can everybody find you?
So we're on all forms of social media. That's used to search at Aria Podcast, apart from on X.
Yeah, X. Fuck X.
Whoa.
Fuck X.
Fucking dickhead.
Yeah, fuck Elon and his stupid fucking policies, because I set up our fucking Twitter account years ago with an email address that nobody uses anymore, and then all of a sudden it logged me out and we couldn't get back in.
Oh, no.
But for love nor money. So it doesn't matter how many, I had various email conversations with the people over at X. For love nor money, we could not get back in, right? And which is a shame, because we built quite a good community to an extent on Twitter. We had a fair few followers. So right now, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at Ruthless Pod UK. And currently, we have 7 followers. So come over. It's
a
fun.
good time. Come on, get on the train. Choo choo.
That's it. Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, but fuck X. Break it down. But yeah, if you like some ruthless shit, check us out. SoundCloud, Spotify. Just look for Arty Era Podcast and you'll find us.
Our next episode is involving the build to Survivor Series 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Got
because WWE's got a video game to sell.
There you go. Good video game though. A good video game. It's not
100%.
Day of Reckoning or whatever the hell.
Oh Jesus, Crush Hour 2.
Once again, thank you to Big Mike and medium-sized Dave for joining me on this episode. Always a good time with those boys. Like I said, go check out the Ruthless Aggression Era podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, at Ruthless Pod UK on X. All of their information will be in the description. So go check that out. And with that, I think there's only one thing left to do, and that's to hit that goddamn jingle, Bartholomew. WCW, ECW, WWF, who's the hardest promotion? Eric or Vince or Paulie? I think we can agree, though. Heck, Myers is the shit. Alrighty then. Hardest promotion battle of 1997 continues. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sharing my screen. I got all the scoreboard paraphernalia here if you want to walk along with me. But if you're listening in audio land, I'll walk you through it as well. Basically, the scoreboard reads as follows as of right now. ECW in the lead with 45 points. WCW in second with 14 points. WWF in last with -1 point. Man, it is a bloodbath right now, but we got a lot of year left. And let's see how this show changes up. We can have big swings just in one show. So let's see what this show gives us. First thing we got to do before we get into all the other scoring criteria and whatnot, let's grade this show from a scale of 0 to 100. Final four. What are we thinking, gang? So for reference, Royal Rumble got a 58. That's kind of my basis of what I'm going to throw at this. Is this better or worse than Royal Rumble is the first question that I ask myself as you hear, because you're listening to me. I want to, my gut says worse. I think it's definitely worse. I would say like, is it though? Is it? Because I would say the wrestling is better on Final Four on average. But I think 97 Royal Rumble was just a more fun show. I think it's pretty close to Royal Rumble. I think it's close to 58. Sold Out was a 52. I think it's better than Sold Out for sure. Crossing the Line Again was a 72 from ECW. I think we're going to throw a 60? Maybe? 61? Nah, 60. I think 60 feels good. Let me just chew on that and see how it tastes. Royal Rumble was a 58. Final Four is a 60. Not that much better, but I think on average, like per second, it's also a shorter show. You know what I mean? I think I'm good with that. So they got a 60 is what we're going with. So now we look at the average scores. Now, there's not a lot of shows to base this off yet. But as of right now, ECW still has the highest average score with a 72. So we go back to the overall scoreboard, which is where we will chill out here for the rest of this. So best pay-per-views, highest average score still remains with ECW. So they hold on to those 15 points. Best TV. So just overall, best TV quality, the experience of watching it, the quality of stuff that's on these TV shows. You know, I know each company has different methods of TV and how they produce stuff. And so we take that all into account. Everything's weighted accordingly. But right now we're tracking ECW as the best overall TV product. This is based off of, you know, a lot of its highlights from their special events. So it's not a ton of original content on these shows, but the way it's, you know, the way it's produced, the promos are great. It's just a fun watch. You know, especially maybe if you're not watching these, if you're not buying the VHSs or whatever the hell, or you're not there live, you know, you rely on these TV shows to watch the product. So, and Nitro and Raw, which is mainly what I know there's other shows, but that's mainly what I'm basing this on. Nitro and Raw sucks. Raw's pretty shit. Nitro isn't much better. We're in the midst of Roddy and Hulk Hogan, which is like, there's some fun stuff there, but for the most part, these Nitros are just like filler matches with stuff happening in the background. I think ECW holds on to best TV for now. A lot's going to change, you know, as the year progresses, but I think as of this moment, because remember, we're looking at this moment in time, February 16th, 1997, I think ECW has the best TV overall right now. Best in-ring. Right now we're tracking WCW as the best. Does that remain true? Yeah. Look, ECW, the in-ring isn't great right now. So I don't think it's ECW. WWF. So you got The Rock and Hunter Hearst Helmsley doing some pretty good stuff. You got Brett and Austin. Owen and Bulldog doing some good stuff. Doug Furnace, Philip LaFon. So they got a decent tag stuff happening. Undertaker's fine. WCW has the cruiserweight division, but that's, you know, that's one element of it. You know, as of this moment in time, I'm inclined to shift this to WWF. Is that crazy? Because WCW, outside of the cruiserweight division, I mean, they have the talent there, but they aren't really displaying it that much. You know? So, whereas WWF, I think, does a little bit of a better job at showcasing the in-ring. Out of these three companies, I think WWF is in the lead there. So, they regain those 10 points from WCW. So now WWF pulls into second place with 9 points. WCW has 4 now. Best out of ring. We're tracking ECW as the best. So there's all the characters, storylines, what have you, the promos. Like I said, ECW has the best promos. I think they have the most well-rounded like package of storylines. You have the Dudleys cooking now with Bubba and Devon. World title scene's kind of in flux right now. They're kind of just spinning their wheels a little bit, but you still have Shane Douglas and the Pitbulls. Whereas WWF, you have Austin and Brett. They're still in the beginning stages of their feud. So I don't know if I could really take that much into account here. The world titles kind of just, they're bobbling it a little bit. There's going to be a title change on Raw the next night from where we're at here. You know, the promos or whatever. I think ECW is still up top here. Still up top. So they maintain those 10 points. So now we move into the best section. So the best match of the year so far. We're tracking the Eliminators versus Sabu and Rob Van Dam at Crossing the Line again as the best match right now. So the question is was any match on this show better than that? The 4-way was very good. I'm kind of inclined to, because Eliminators and RVD Sabu, it was fun. It was a little disjointed, but it was kind of like a fun car wreck. So was this 4-way in some ways, but I think with the stakes involved, the spotlight that it got, the star power involved, and overall just how it shaped up, I think I'm going to go 4-way here for best match of the year. Final 4-way. Is that redundant? I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, WWF takes those 5 points away from ECW. So WWF is recovering here. They started out at -1 point. Now they have 14. Wrestler of the year. We're tracking Stone Cold as the best. I see no reason to change that. I think we leave it. Stone Cold, Wrestler of the Year so far, 5 points. Best character storyline. Character/storyline, I should say. Sting. You know, Sting's involvement with the NWO, WCW. Will he, won't he? Very interesting and intriguing arc that Sting is on right now. And I don't think anything in WWF is better than that right now. Yeah. We're going to leave it as Sting. So WCW holds those 5 points. Best segment of the year. We're tracking the Diamond Cutter to Scott Hall on Nitro. So the question here is, does Shawn losing his smile pop up here at all? I don't think that would be the best segment of the year for sure. Maybe the worst. We'll talk about that in a second. Trying to think of any like segments that have happened on Raw leading up to this. Nothing that is coming to mind that would match this. Yeah, I don't think so. WCW holds on to those 5 points, I think. So now we move into the worst section. Worst match of the year. We're tracking the Royal Rumble Lucha 6-man match. Now, was any match on this show worse than that? Big part of me wants to put Mark Merrow versus Leif Cassidy. But I think it was relatively short enough to where it didn't hurt too much, whereas the Lucha 6-man felt like 38 minutes. You know what? Let's do a quick check. Let's see what the with the official times of each of those matches, because that might determine where I stand here. So 97 cage match. Let's see what we got here. Royal Rumble results 14. Wait, no, that's not that. 10 minutes. That was only 10 minutes. That 6-man. No fucking way. 10 minutes 56. So like 11 minutes. Still though, man. All right. What was Mark Marrow and Leif Cassidy? My guess is like 7 minutes. Card with guide. Results. 9 minutes, 30 seconds. So wow, they were actually pretty similar times. You know what? I mean, it's still going to be WWF either way, so it doesn't matter too much. No, because the Rumble 6-man was pretty sloppy as well, whereas Marrow and Leaf wasn't a sloppy match. It was just psychologically annoying and worthless and a waste of time. But so was the Rumble 6-man. So you know what? Whatever. The Luchas hold on to this. They maintain that -3 points for the WWF. Worst wrestler of the year, we're tracking Crush. This show did no favors for him. So, yeah, I don't see any. I mean, just, diddle through my notes a little bit and see if anybody else pops up that, Bart Gunn, maybe. Savio Vega, perhaps. No one else, really. No one else coming to mind. So, yeah, we'll leave it at Crush. Crush holds on to this -3 points for WWF. Worst character / storyline. We're tracking WCW and the whole Nick Patrick, Randy Anderson ref debacle. Randy getting fired while having cancer and then bringing his family onto Nitro and be like, please let me have my job back. And then they have to fight each other. I think they have a match. Randy Anderson, Nick Patrick. Yeah. I don't think anything is worse. Yeah, nothing's really worse than that right now. So you could argue the Hunter Goldust thing, but not quite. Not quite. So yeah, WCW holds on to that -3 points. Worst segment of the year. So we're tracking NWO, Miss NWO from Sold Out. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to be really, really bad to knock this off of the scoreboard here. Shawn losing his smile. It's a very notable segment. Sent a lot of shockwaves through the company. Definitely had more of an effect on the company than Miss NWO did on WCW. So that's something we have to consider. But Miss NWO was so completely unnecessary, so poorly produced, no payoff, a waste of time. Whereas the Shawn losing his smile thing, it's kind of cringe, but people were into it at the time, and ultimately it served a purpose. Whether or not it was legitimate. Shawn's knee injury, it had to be done. It prompted a lot of curiosity in the audience, like, will Shawn ever come back? So it was like a big moment. So I don't think it's worst of the year. I don't think so. So I think Miss NWO holds on to this. So WCW holds on to those -3 points. And that about does it. So where we sit as of February 16th, 1997, ECW still in the lead with 40 points. WWF now in second with 14 points. WCW in third with 4 points. So that is where we stand here. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Feel free to let me. By the way, join the Discord if you're not already a part of it. Link in the description. We could talk about it, or at me on X or Instagram. DM me. Hit me up on Tout. Do whatever it is that you want to do. Is there something I'm omitting? Is there something I'm not taking into account? Am I just a silly goose? Let me know. But that's where we're at. And that's about all Daddy has for you today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate all the love, all the support. Make sure you give this bad boy a like, subscribe, follow, 5-star ratings. You know the deal. Do all of that. And with that, I'll love you and I'll leave you. Mwah. I'm hard.
Yeah. And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.